advocates whisper in the hall, where justice wears a mask and truth begins to fall. Every thread they pull, every lie they weave, in the courtroom's dance, who's left to believe? Oh, the devil's in the details, hiding in plain sight, innocent until the gavel steals the light. True crime echoes through the hollow night, fighting injustice with no end. The devil's in the details, hiding in plain sight, innocent until the gavel steals the light. True crime echoes through the hollow night, fighting injustice with no end in sight. A photograph fades where the truth once stood. Blurred lines between the bad and the good. The scales they tilt with every silver tongue, while the broken cry for a song unsung. Black robes sway like shadows on the wall. One wrong word and the mighty fall. Who's a sinner? Who's a saint? The jury's out, but the verdict's faint. Oh, the devil's in the details, hiding in plain sight, innocent until the gavel steals the light. True crime echoes through the hollow night, fighting injustice with no end. The devil's in the details, hiding in plain sight, innocent until the gavel steals the light. True crime echoes through the hollow night, fighting injustice with no end in sight.
Ladies and gentlemen, do you want to know why I'm here today? It's not because I want to give you a pep talk or because I want to make you feel good about yourselves. No, I'm here to tell you the truth.
All right, welcome everybody to a New Year's Eve edition of Crimes After Dark. Robin, can you give me a wave? Let me know that you can hear me backstage. Okay, perfect. I just wanted to make sure my sound's working. It's our crew is a little short-staffed on New Year's Eve. Surprise, surprise. We have our law enforcement regular. One is probably not. Well, no, he's not going to be here tonight. Although I know we've got law enforcement in the house. We've got Senior Wazowski. I think former law enforcement or current law enforcement, or is it one of those once law enforcement, always law enforcement? But anyways, we got some people in the audience that are still involved in the law enforcement trade, but our resident NYPD won't be here tonight. Joe from State of the Deep should be on a little bit later. He was just wrapping up work or something like that right about now, and so whatever time it takes him to get into his routine and onto the camera, should be here shortly. Don't know about Dago. Dago's been a pretty regular, but Dago, we forgot to send the link out to Dago until just a few minutes ago. So hopefully Dago will get the invite and be here. Although I know Dago was streaming earlier today, and I think Dago was on Lana's show. And so anyways, who's going to show up is going to be a mystery. We're going to take it kind of low, slow, and easy. I'll get Robin up on screen very, very quickly. In fact, right now, Robin with her cool background and her cat she had the cat behind her chair. Your mic's still muted, Robin, so make sure you unmute yourself and say hello.
Well, hello, everyone. Great to be here as always, and I hope everyone is having a wonderful New Year's Eve thus far. How about yourself, sir?
It's going. This is. I don't want to. I don't want to wax too spiritual, philosophical, but I love New Year's Eve. It's not. So for me, New Year's Eve is all about the whole reflecting on last year, right? Taking that time to really. I used to do big journaling projects. I used to read books on, better next year. You talk about what you did right last year, what you're going to do better, and I love that whole process of like really thinking about. And I used to think, again, I didn't want to get too heavy on this, so I won't take too long. I used to spend a lot of time thinking about the things that I did wrong last year and how I want to make things better. But I realized that being in the negative space of what you did wrong is probably not the best space to be in. So rather, what I like to do now is I like to focus on the things that went right last year and the things that we could do better this year even more, to keep it more positive, as opposed to looking at the mistakes. Because Lord knows, I make a lot of mistakes from year to year. But this time of year traditionally is my favorite time of year because it's not just an arbitrary date. A lot of people all over the world are going through the same process. New Year's resolutions. By the way, stranger danger, warning, all those things to you. Don't get sucked into the gym memberships that go through the roof in New Year's and make you sign up for year-long contracts that they know damn well statistically you're going to quit going to the gym by February, and then you're paying for the whole rest of the year supporting everybody else at the gym. That's not to say don't get off your couch and go do exercise, but just be careful about signing contracts for New Year's because they're preying upon the fact that everybody right now has great intention. The road is paved with good intentions, but a lot of people fizzle out very, very early. So
Yeah,
anyways,
I totally understand what you're saying there. It's same way with people who like me who are planner addicts.
yeah.
Like we buy a lot of planners, and it's the same thing. It's like, a month later, it's like I haven't even hardly cracked it open. So it's like, what is going on with my background? Anyway,
Let's say hi. Let's say hi to some of our folks here and invite people to come up on stage because again, we have a very low panel tonight. Although we have plenty of things we can talk about. I've got stuff to talk about Delphi and Idaho 4. And boy, yeah, your screen, you're disappearing. Half your face is gone. I don't think.
oh, I'm gonna have to just turn it off. Damn it!
You're a 100% straight up mess right now.
I am.
Teresa, welcome. Becca, welcome. Troubled Ocean's not going to be able to make it. Troubled Ocean has a beautiful pig that she takes care of, and her poor pig for New Year's is going to be terrified of all the fireworks, and so she's going to spend time. This woman, Troubled Ocean, is very, very dedicated to her friendly pig, beautiful pig, and she rescued her. She got a whole story. I've heard her story. It's a very, very heartwarming story, and it always amazes me how much she cares for that pig. Everything is. She cares about that pig very much. And so it's funny because she's going to make sure that they're super smart, right? They're super smart.
Awesome animals.
Yeah.
They're very undervalued, I believe. We had pigs growing up, so I totally get it.
Yeah, 100%. Daenerys Targaryen in the house. Essie's in the house. Patricia. I'm not even going to make it. I'm not going to. Patricia Serio. I did say I wasn't going to attempt it, and I did anyways. So anyways, we got a lot of people in here. There's a lot of names that I haven't got to. There are like over 100 people in here right now, so it's a little hard to keep up. Dynasites and Christine Hurd and regular names that we see. And again, Panda, we had Senior Wiskowski, Michelle F.
Yep.
And on and on and on. All the Amanda and Candid Eyes. We got a lot of people. So Here for the Truth. All these names that I recognize. So I can't get to all the names. Thank you so much, you guys, for supporting the channel. It has been a really good year as far as I'm concerned. I just want to spend a minute to remind you. When I first started this, I started on TikTok a year ago, and a friend of mine drugged me into it, kicking and screaming. I was working a job at the time, and he said, we ended up talking about Luigi Mangione one day because there was a recent shooting in New York. He goes, "Did you hear this crazy? You see this crazy guy that shot, a CEO of a healthcare company in downtown New York and broad daylight and on and on." And as we got talking about it, I started saying, "Well, what if this and what if that?" And I came up with all these ideas he'd never thought of. And he's like, "Dude, why do you not do this on TikTok or YouTube or something? Because like you've got all these great questions." And here we are a year later. Never in a million years would I think I would call myself a YouTuber or a TikToker. I'm an old man. I told him, I said, "Dude, Nobody wants to see an old fart talk about fucking, nobody gives a shit. YouTube's a young person's game. You have to be young, pretty, you have to be charismatic. None of these things I am. And he's like, you have no idea. If you've got good thoughts and you can articulate yourself, you'll do well. And he was right and I was wrong, and here we are. And we've got a whole team.
And you're not
Robin,
a year older than me, damn it. Quick,
well, I know. I don't mean to. This is all self-deprecating. It's not meant to insult anybody who also is my age, but never did I think that we'd be able to do this, and here we are, and I'm super excited about it. It was a great year.
Yeah, it was.
Next year is going to be. I think this next year is going to be better. I think, but who knows? But yeah, it definitely seems like we. Again, I won't go too much longer because I know you guys want to talk about true crime and all those things and the stories, but. I never thought we'd get past 1,000 subscribers so that we could monetize. And then I kept saying, look, we're a tiny channel, we're a small channel. And people would try to try to get me to do things that bigger channels do. And I'm like, we're not a big channel, we're a small channel. We did turn the tide. Like we're no longer, we can't call ourselves a small channel. Sure, we're not a big channel, but we're certainly not a small channel.
Yes.
So yeah.
It's so funny because you and I are so different in a lot of ways. You're more the pragmaticist and I'm the dreamer, and I'm just like, don't limit it, man. And what was it when I came on board? It was like we're at like 9,000 something or other, and you're like, we're never gonna hit 10,000 by the end of the year. I'm like, yes, we freaking will, and we're right at 13,000. So if you're not subscribed to the channel, freaking subscribe to the channel and help us hit 13.
Yeah. It's kind of funny because that's something I don't do often, is ask for people to subscribe. And it's funny because that is what everybody does, and it's for a reason, because subscriptions mean everything. It tells YouTube that you're interesting. So let me say this: for those of you who watch my show and you find it interesting, if you haven't subscribed, please do so, because it's one of the key metrics that YouTube says, boy, this person must be doing something right. People keep subscribing to his show. So that does help a ton. So again, our panelists are going to be coming on a little bit. Let's get the open invite. Did you put a link in here for people to join us on stage if somebody wants to join us on stage? I will do it right
this very minute, sir.
It's a really good opportunity to come up on stage. I'll tell you why you're sending that link out. We just recently started getting into the Delphi case, and I got a big deep dive on Saturday. I can't wait to record. I was going to say to reveal, but I haven't recorded it yet, but I've got it all mapped out. And there's a big tie together, in my opinion. I'm going to make a big tie-in between the Delphi case, Delphi murders and Richard Allen, and the Idaho 4 Brian Koberger. I see a connection between these two cases. And I'm going to make a video talking about some similarities in these two cases that can't be ignored, and how it, and again, it points to systemic problems in our judicial and our law enforcement system. Again, I have no beef with police. I think law enforcement is an important thing. I believe in a nation of laws. I believe that all those things are good. So please don't make it sound like I hate police. But we have incentivized police departments and the prosecution to do things, and they don't even. It's tricky. They don't even have to be doing it intentionally. They're just incentivized to do things that basically will lead to wrongful convictions. And it's not necessarily even their fault. It's just the system's built in such a way to incentivize wrongful convictions, in my opinion. And so it is what it is. I'm going to talk a little bit about that. My wife and I watched a 3-part series. And when I saw the title, I thought, oh, I can tell where this is going. I was wrong. The title was something to the effect of Finding Their Killer, or something like that. It was about Abby and Libby, and it was about finding their killer, which again, we all know, right? Richard Allen was accused of being their killer and sentenced to 130 years. So I figured the whole show is going to be about how they found Richard Allen and put this SOB in jail. And yet that's not really what that show was about. It was really good. I highly recommend it. It was much better, in my opinion, than the 2-part series we watched called Down the Hill.
Okay.
There are moments, I will tell you this. I don't know about you, Robin, but when you're watching people, do you like when you're watching documentaries and you see people, for example, who are what we call guilters, people who already believe somebody's guilty. You almost see a smirk on their face, like they're so fucking proud of themselves that they got the bad guy, and they laugh and scoff at anything that suggests that the bad guy wasn't the bad guy, and mock the, any attitude. And it's just like, when I watch these people, I just get angry. I'm just like, you son of a bitch,
Yep.
like, get that smirk off your fucking face. This isn't funny. Like, somebody's life was ruined over this, and you're acting like it's funny, and you're mocking anybody. That that part was difficult. And that series had a little bit of that, where you're just kind of like, there's some people you just want to punch in the face for their attitude. It's like, I don't mind that you think somebody's guilty or not, but that attitude, that smirk, like you think it's funny. Nothing's fucking funny about these cases. Nothing's funny about the murders. Nothing's funny about the victims. And certainly nothing's funny about people being put away for it if they didn't do it, because that's not funny either. There's nothing funny about it. But
not at all. Yeah, not at all. When people act like that, it's like, how would they feel if their loved one was, or themselves were, wrongfully accused? I mean, and that's where critical thinking is so lacking. And it's like, look beyond what they're telling us and do your own research.
Yeah. And it's sad to me. I mean, I hear comments all the time from people who are just simply uneducated, like, you're an idiot. The guy pled guilty. Why the fuck are you still talking about this? You must be a moron. He literally said he was guilty. And I'm like, you literally must not read books or understand the judicial system and how wrongful convictions, how false confessions, how the system works. Because again, the system is rigged against people, and people have to plea all the time to things they didn't do in order to avoid the punishments that are coming their way if they don't admit to things that they didn't do, to avoid the harder penalty. It's a systemic problem in our country, in my opinion. So can we fix it overnight? No, but we're going to keep talking about it and trying to shed light on the situation. All right, let's look for some questions, comments in the chat, because again, I know you didn't see that episode of the 3-part documentary I did, so I don't want to ask you. There's Dago.
Oh, there's Dago.
Oh, I'm sorry. I told you at the beginning when we were backstage. I said, this is a low key night. Like, I know it's New Year's, and by the way, I might be going to listen to some music for New Year's. I'm not sure, but let me bring. Dago says the camera's not connected, so I'm going to give him a moment to see if he gets his camera connected, because he is backstage, but I don't know that anything's connected. There he goes. All right, let's get Dago. Dago, what's going on, my brother?
What's up, guys? How are you tonight?
Good to see you. I heard you were on today.
Yes, I was live this morning, this afternoon, and here.
Boy, oh boy.
You're a beast.
Punishment, dude.
You're a beast.
I'm just used to it now. I joined Lana and Pav and Birdie this morning, and then I did my show, and then it's what it is. I'll be here for a little bit at least.
Give me the if you're willing, give me the highlights of how that I saw about 10 minutes of Lana and Pav when it first started, just kind of seeing what that, because I mean, as far as I know, Pav's never done a live with anybody. And so I was like, well, how the hell did she get him on there? And so I watched a little bit of it. Later on, I got notified that Birdie was on, because people always tell me what Birdie's doing and stuff like that. So they told me Birdie's on. Then later on, I got a message that you were on, and I'm like, okay, so apparently everybody in my friends circle's going on Lana. How did it go? Give us the update. How'd that go, and how'd you feel about it?
It was actually really, really good. Hold on a minute. Let me fix something here. Okay, that's worked. All right. Excuse me. It was actually a really good show. She did him and her for the first hour or so, or for a couple hours. He took a little break, then came back, and then Birdie popped in, added a little bit more. They talked a little bit about that, and then she brought me in. She said for the grand finale, I guess, for all four of us up there, and so on and so forth. But it was a good conversation. Pav made good points. Lana made great points. Birdie threw in some of his Birdie stuff that he's good for, and so on and so forth. And Pav was questioning things there, and Birdie was asking a lot of questions to Pav. It was actually really, I thought it was great, to be honest with you. It was very good.
Well, I saw I had a monstrous audience, so I know it was well attended. I didn't get to watch, like, that's the thing. Like, I don't even have enough hours in my day. Now, granted, I guess I'm choosing other things to do. I could have done that instead, but I was like, man, like, I don't have time to sit here and watch this, but I'm super curious because all these people are going on the show. And like I said, I've always been curious how Pav would do on a live with somebody. What I saw, he did fine. Everything was good there. So
Lana's I love Lana to death. I've known her. Well, I've been out here 4 years doing this, and she's very influential. Like she's very good at talking you into things. I guess for lack of but she does a great job with what she does, and I think I think the fact, in my opinion, and I don't want this to be taken any way by any means, but those, and I'm talking about myself included, out of all of us out here, I think those two probably do more research than all of us. Okay. Yeah. I research, you research, we all do, but those two really they go head first into the coal fire. You know what I mean?
Right.
And they're digging and digging and digging. Pop spends hours and hours and hours digging. Lena's constantly doing it. I mean, I do a lot of research too, but I'm lucky enough to have an amazing team that researches and throws things at me left and right all day, so I don't have to research a lot of things. So, that's helpful. So I don't have to do as much. But I mean, you can just tell they work their asses off into the research and aspect of it. Lana goes and does this, that, and everything else, a lot like you do with boots on the ground stuff. So it's good to see the two of them together with their thoughts, and they both disagreed on things throughout the whole thing, but it turned out there's some of us that know how to disagree without being like dumbasses about it. You know what I mean?
Right.
There's some of us that just can't do it. Like the one person I was going to conversate with you a little bit about tonight when I popped up here, because it's driving me fucking insanely. It is driving me nuts. Sorry, Robin, but it's really driving me nuts. I'm pissed. I'm just pissed. Okay. Whenever you're,
I can't
go for it. I'm on pins and needles already.
He didn't have his normal energy. Lay it on us, Dago. Go ahead.
This is another creator. Okay. It's a guilter. I'm already not fond of this person. I'm not going to talk bad about them in here. or talk bad and say their name in here, but people will figure this out. I don't do that anyway, but this person's been on guilt's train from day one, doing their thing, so on and so forth. And it's been irritating, but I respect every creator, guilter, pro burger, whatever the hell you want to call them, because we all do some work out here. 100%. It takes something to do this. End of story. I've even respected this person for doing what they do, no matter how irritating it is. Now, it's been proven, Lee, and you know this, that the fog lights on the car are an issue now, okay?
Right.
Because they're not there. And we both know that the inserts that are there are factory-based. You can't just go run down to AutoZone and say, hey, I need plugs for my fog lights. I don't want them anymore, and I'm going to plug this up. It doesn't work that way.
Right.
So this person, this idiot, okay, I'm sorry, but I can't.
I love the passion.
Their clip-on, at one point makes a statement that they're clip-on fog lights. Get the fuck out of here.
Oh my God, yeah.
What the fuck is a clip-on fog light?
Thank you. There's no such thing as a fucking clip-on fog light or a bumper attachment or any of that dumb shit. Take what it is and admit that you're fucking wrong and be done with it. That's all there is to it. For Christ's sakes, get over yourself.
I love it. It's rare that I see people get as pissed off about something. It's like, I get it. Like there's certain people, and again, I'm glad in a way, I'm glad we didn't not name names. There are certain people that it doesn't matter. They literally must believe it happened the way that it was said that it happened. And they will jump through every mental gymnastics to make the story fit. And there's nothing you can do. There's no argument you can give them at this point. They will find, that's only because, and it's just, you just want to say, oh my God, when did your mother slap the fucking common sense out of you that you lost all your common sense?
How many times were you dropped on your fucking head as a baby? Because this is just ignorant stupidity. And you guys know I'm pretty mellow, laid back, calm, cool. My people know me though. When I start doing this, they know that I'm serious about it, because this person, fog lights don't matter. No, they don't matter. They don't matter now because they don't exist, because it's not his fucking car, and you're too fucking hard-headed to admit to it.
Right. Yeah, no,
you owe your community the truth, bro. That's all I'm saying. And if you hear me, hear this. You owe your community the fact that you need to be honest with them as much as any one of us out here does. So just do it. Right. And if you're not going to do it, then sit down and shut the fuck up.
Why? why can't people, I totally agree with you. Why can't people more often, I mean, granted, not everybody's the same, I'm not telling you, but why can't people more often say something just simple as this? Hey, they make a good point. You know, the fog light issue, that you made a good point. I don't think it's that way, and here's the reason why. Lay out your argument. But treating people like shit, like, oh, you're an idiot, that's a clip-on fog light. Go, fuck. It's like, dude, like,
it's a bumper
why can't you just admit that there's a good argument, that maybe you missed something? You can't admit you might have missed something?
Oh, hell, not this person. There's no way they'll admit they're wrong. No. But you know what? I'm glad that I have the opportunity to voice my opinion about this, because this is pathetic. It's just, it shows how pathetic, how just ridiculous it is that this person's going to stick to this. Then they said, oh, it's definitely Koberger's car. So it was this, or this. Miss me with that bullshit. Go sit down.
That's like, there's an argument on Facebook that I got involved in. All of a sudden now these assholes have Brian Koberger buying one of those chainmail gloves, and that's how he doesn't have a cut on his when he shows it.
Wow, that's all right. Next thing it'll be that
hit in the head as a child.
Yeah, it'll be he used to work for Arby's, guys, and that was how he used to slice the roast beef.
Right. Well, yeah, it's funny that you mention it, because I more than once lost my shit over don't you realize Brian Koberger worked at a fish packing thing, and he learned how to fillet fish. That's how he can kill 4 people in 8 minutes, because he fillets fish. And I'm like,
failed horribly at that, and you can't do it, Lee. That's the point. The dude couldn't do it. He couldn't keep the job because he couldn't fillet a fucking fish.
Right. His boss literally said he didn't stay there. He didn't work there long enough to learn how to fillet a fish. Like, and yet it was, and again, it just shows the bias on people. Like, you tell them with common sense, there's no way that guy killed 4 people in 8 minutes by himself. And they said, well, yeah, he was a trained boxer and a fish filleter. Of course he could do it. And you're like, are you?
Yeah, he was a trained boxer.
Anything you can to just maintain your narrative.
And this is what they very conveniently will slide right on by. He was a trained boxer and a fish player that had dyspraxia. Those 2 things, those 3 things go together very well, you jackass.
Yeah. Or and he has visual snow problems, but he can see fucking plain as day to go kill 4 people. He's got, I mean, he's got OCD, but he doesn't mind getting himself drenched in blood in a bloodbath. But even though he's got OCD, and he's like, he's meticulous about washing his hands, but he's going to get covered head to foot and go. Like, at what point did you not step and go, I don't see why that person would be the right guy for that crime?
They don't even want to look at it. It's like, how can I even say this? Like, I can't look at anything other than this. Okay, I can't do it, because if I do it, my head's going to explode from the inside out. I'm afraid for that to happen. The stupidity that's leaking from your ears and your asshole is worse than that. Okay, so at that point, just shut up and sit down.
You're in rare form tonight. Look, Lex figured it out. He boxed them to stun them, and then he filleted them. So
and he failed horribly at it. Yes, that's 100% correct. Yes. And then he ran out and he bought clip-on fucking fog lights and stuck them on with the bumper attachment. Somebody in that person's chat, I loved it. They're like, are you serious? So there's no light, there's no switch. If you don't have factory fog lights put in, the switch for them is not there either. So he turned them on and off, and then he had that removed and went in and got the inserts that are factory installed, by the way, folks, again, and had that changed out. And then he also had the fin removed and put it back on when he left, and had the tint taken off the windows and put back on then too. Shut up. Just shut up.
It makes total sense. I mean, of course he would do that. He's a criminal mastermind.
What's wrong with you?
He's a criminal mastermind.
Yeah, right, Robin, right. I mean, I'm so sick and tired of this shit, you guys. I mean, listen, how many times have we, on the hill that we are standing on right now, said, you know what? I could be wrong. I might be wrong. I have been wrong, and I admit when I'm wrong. I have no problem doing that. In fact, I said, if you show me how this happened, how that happened, I probably did. At that point, Wazowski, I probably did. Anyway, if you show me the proof of this, that's all you got to show me is this and that. I was okay. I was wrong. It's no big deal. This person can never be wrong, ever. God bless you.
Well,
God bless you.
And go ahead, Robin.
well, I was just gonna say, if it's the same person, I think it is. They were on with Vinnie Politics.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Got so mad because Vinnie got a super chat.
Yes.
Like,
look,
look,
that
ballistic.
temper tantrum in itself tells you exactly who that person is.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know who you guys are talking about, but it's pretty funny. I will tell you this, but I said the same thing you did. I said, look, I don't have a dog in this fight. At the end of the day, Kohberger may be guilty. I've said that all along. I said on any of these cases, it may be true that, you know, this is, I said, I don't have a dog in the fight. I don't, at the end of the day, I don't care. If he's guilty, then let him be guilty. Just make sure you do it right. And you didn't break laws to get him, and we'll be all fine. But
And
when you do illegal shit to get the bad guy, then you're a hypocrite. You want to put somebody in jail and by the letter of the law, and then break the law in order to do it. That's
when you're wiping your ass with the Constitution of the United States, the thing that binds this country together, that creates this, that makes this country what it is. That's where I have a problem. That's my biggest issue. Like you said, yeah. I don't mean this in a disrespectful way, you guys. I've said this on my own channel. I don't care about Brian Kohberger. I don't care if he's the one that did it, then he is. If he's not, he's not. The way they got to him is what I care about. And the fact that it could happen to me or Lee or Robin or any one of you, that's what I'm standing here fighting about. This other person doesn't give a fuck about any of that. All they care about is that Brian Kohberger did it. And I have to because I've been out here like a jackass the entire 3 years telling everybody, I know this is a fact, and I know that is a fact, and I know this is a fact. Now I can't back away from that because now I'm going to look stupid, which you already have, but it's going to make them look stupid. And that's why they will never admit that they were wrong, period.
And that's a thing too. Like, I mean, to beat the dead horse even further, like I've made comments to people. Like I said, I personally, I'm giving you my reasons why I don't think one person could have done what they said they did in 8 minutes. I don't think it's logical, and I'm going to present my argument. However, I've also conceded that doesn't mean Brian Kohberger wasn't there. He could have gone there as the getaway driver. He could have gone there to pick somebody up after the murders. There's lots of scenarios in which Brian Kohberger could have been there. Yes, but it also crosses my mind, because I'm an intellectually honest person, that maybe he wasn't even there at all.
Yeah.
So, but people will accuse me of, you'll say anything you can to get Brian Kohberger off. And I'm like, listen, asshole, I just told you he may be involved. He may have been the getaway driver. I'm just saying, I don't think it's logical to think he did it alone. I've always said it's possible he did it with somebody. And yet people will bust my nuts like, you'll say anything to get him off on this thing. And I'm like,
they don't hear that other.
I don't give a shit.
They don't hear the other shit, Lee. That's why I scream when the people say this. It doesn't really bother me, but it's starting to irritate me. I'm not a pro-burger. You're not a pro-burger, neither is Robin, okay? And none of the rest of us. We are here for truth, okay?
Yep.
That's it. Call me a truther, whatever you want to call it. But I'm not here for Brian. I'm here for all of us and the entire country to not have to go through this, period.
Yeah. Yeah, and I absolutely believe that all of us have a passion for the Constitution and for doing our constitutional rights. And again, we have a systemic broken system in which people can be ramrodded with overcharging and over policing and narrow-sighted and not looking for alternative suspects, doing everything they can to avoid any alternative suspects being put in there. Even though our system is designed for reasonable doubt, they will try to take away your ability to present a reasonable doubt to a jury. And that's bullshit, because at the first time somebody who's totally innocent isn't allowed to even present to a jury the possibility that they didn't do it, then what's the point of having a system that believes in the presumption of innocence if you're not allowed to even present to a jury that you might not have fucking done it? Like, there's a problem. We're breaking our system.
100%. Right. And that has been from the moment that they put the bracelets on Brian Kohberger, the moment that, and they started there. They made sure they filmed the plane flying all day long to get him back over to Idaho, and this and that and this. And from that moment forward, every single ounce of propaganda that came through the media, which is how and why they did this, has always been the same thing. That man was never, ever one time for one moment innocent until proven guilty. He was guilty.
The second they
guilty.
Yeah.
Bingo. Yes. And that's not what we stand for in this country. Not at all.
And unfortunately, that's the way mainstream media has been acting for a long time. As soon as somebody is named as the person who's the suspect, then the media tells you over and over again, they got their guy before they've even started the trial. They got him. They arrested the guy.
Yep.
The guy's been caught.
Yep.
And here is a picture of the killer going to the courthouse. They'll say that kind of shit on TV. Here's a picture of the killer going to the courthouse. Like, killer has not been determined yet. They just literally got arrested. It doesn't mean they're the killer. Like, we've lost our minds in this country.
And it's so bad. And the people will do whatever they have to do and ignore whatever they have to ignore to make that point and get that point driven home as hard as they can, no matter what it is. And it's completely, if you notice, and I guarantee, I bet you that nothing more is going to come from this. The big deal is now that Jack Decor was suspect number one, blah, 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 all this. And the car, the fog lights. Has anybody seen any of mainstream media come out and say anything about fog lights at all in that car yet?
No.
Nope.
They're not going to. They're not going to, because it does not fit into that narrative, and they'll look like fools because they are.
Right.
Yep.
And I don't know how I missed it, but I sent, and it's a similar point in my opinion. I sent the 2 hour, the hour video that Jules got with all the screaming going on between 2:30 and 3:30, and a well-articulated letter to the Attorney General saying that this would leave anybody with reasonable doubt as to when those murders happened, because you don't hear any of this at 4 o'clock to 4:20 when they say the murders happened. You don't hear anything like that, but you hear a thud and a dog whimper. They will literally tell you can hear a thud and a dog whimper from next door, but no screaming. And then they'll try to tell you that all the screaming you hear couldn't possibly have come from 1122, yet we can hear a dog and a thud. Like, no. And I point that out very nicely and articulate to CNN, Fox News, ABC News, CBS, all these news stations. Not a single fucking one of them even acknowledge they got that. They won't talk about it. They won't say, hey, some new information's come out. We're beginning to wonder. No, not a single one of them. Not a one of them. They'll pretend like they never even.
Exactly. I don't know what you're talking
all
about.
bought and paid for.
Right.
No idea
Why are
what
you
you're
talking about it. Koberger pled guilty. This is the end of the case. He pled guilty.
That's where they always go, Lee. They always go there because they have nothing else to reach for at that point. Nothing. This same person is still holding on to. And I think, I'm telling you, I think it should be illegal, and these people should be held accountable for doing what they're doing at this point now. The same person in that same paragraph, when they're talking about the clip-on fucking headlights, is saying, but yeah, he cleaned his car with bleach and did this and no, he didn't. No, he didn't.
There's no evidence of bleach in the car at all. Yeah.
No.
They won't let go of that stuff because it's all they got. And it's not it. There's your point, folks. And these people's communities, I feel sorry for them. I'm sorry, but you're getting blatantly lied to. They're driving you into a hole that at some point you're not going to be able to come back out of as well, because you refuse to see the truth. That's all this is. You're refusing to look at, listen to, and understand the truth.
How many people in America, in their minds, this is my rhetorical question, I guess, but maybe you can answer it. I don't know. How many people do you think in America kind of were on the fence for a moment until they heard Brian Koberger was putting the trash in a neighbor's trash can in Pennsylvania to hide the blood from the car and stuff like that he was wearing gloves at 2 a.m, depositing trash in the neighbor's trash can. And a lot of people in America at that point said, well, fuck it. That's it. He's the killer. He's literally cleaning up his car and it turns out later on, he didn't do that shit. Like, they lied about the details about putting trash in the neighbor's can. But in America, a lot of people at that day, a lot of people flipped the switch and said, yep, he's guilty. There's no reason why you wouldn't be putting trash in the neighbor's trash can unless you killed somebody and you're trying to hide the DNA. And it's like
they remind me of little kids that are sitting there going, you know.
I can't hear you. I don't know what you're saying.
I don't want to hear you. I don't want to hear you.
And that's exactly.
And then I might have to face an uncomfortable truth.
Grow up. Grow the fuck up. Period. Because you're saying all in the same thing. The fog lights don't matter. Oh, well, okay. If they do, well, then it's a bumper attachment. It's a clip-on. You're stupid. Okay, you're stupid. At this point, you're just stupid. Then, well, just as much as it's Brian's car. There's no doubt about it. He cleaned it with bleach meticulously. They tore it apart. You're stupid. Again, he was putting his trash in his neighbor's garbage can. You're stupid. I'm going to say it. I'm going to do it live, and that's what it's going to be all day long. You're stupid. Okay, because I'm done with it, Lee. I'm so fucking done with it.
It's very frustrating, and it's sad. And You know, to segue for a moment, we can get back to Idaho 4, but to segue, I just watched, I was telling Robin, I don't know if you were here when he said it, I watched a 3-part documentary on one of the channels, I can't remember what it was, called Finding Their Killer. It was about Delphi, and it was called Finding Their Killer, I think, 3-part series.
Gotcha.
But one of the things that got said in there that drove me nuts, and I don't know, maybe I'm wrong about this, but they were mocking people that were coming to the courthouse to watch the trial. And they said, these people out here are sick and seem to forget that these are real human beings that lost their lives here. And these sick people will come from all over the state to come attend this trial. What is wrong with you that this is a form of entertainment for you? And then when the guilty plea gets, they're all cheering outside. He's guilty, folks. He's guilty. Yeah. And I'm like, what about all those sick motherfuckers that are at the courthouse just for their entertainment to watch the guy get guilty? Why is it okay? Like why do you sons of bitches think it's okay to be outside cheering about how they got a guilty verdict? And that's not just there for your entertainment. But if we presume somebody's innocence and say, wait a minute, I think this guy's getting screwed, we're just a bunch of sons of bitches who don't realize that these are real people and they need to be left alone. And this is not for your entertainment. And I don't understand why people don't see the hypocrisy of that.
And they're the same. They're the same fucking idiots that'll clap in a courtroom during a statement made by one of the family members because it was digging in on the
right, insulting him and mocking
and the judge sits there and goes, yeah, these are all the same people. They're all the same people. Idiots. You're all idiots.
It just baffles me. Sorry, Robin, go ahead.
No, they act like it's a sporting event.
Yes.
It reminds me of way back in the day when they used to hang people and people came out to the hanging back in the freaking 1800s to watch people swing from a rope. And that's kind of the way, like you're saying, Lee, they're outside the courtroom and they cheer and it's like, this isn't funny. It's not entertainment.
And that's one thing I can't handle, Robin. I agree with you. I see some channels and I'm not cutting them down. Okay. It just bothers me. I see channels that will come out, start their show and say, this is purely for entertainment purposes, blah, blah, blah. This is not entertainment to me. I am here not to entertain you. Okay. I'm not here to, during my shows, I do things comically sometimes to make people laugh because you have to have a little bit of decompression from the seriousness and the harshness of this. But the entire thing, guys, is not for entertainment purposes. We are here looking for truth in a crime that was committed that's so horrific and so hard to think about. We can't deal with the fact that we don't believe that they have gotten real justice out of this. That's why we're doing it. It's not to entertain you guys at all. And you guys know that. The people that care, that are here, they know it's not for entertainment. They know it's to look for truth in a situation. There are people, I hate to say this, there are people that are entertained like this. There are people that will come in here and they will run into these channels that turn this into drama and they're entertained highly by that. Okay. You people are the ones that need to go to fucking heads check, because when you're entertained by the death of somebody else and the fact that the person that committed the crime is not the right person and they're lying through the investigation, and I was referring to Delphi there, and doing all these things, that's not entertaining either, you guys, okay? You should want this country to be here, to be the way it's supposed to be, like the rest of us do, but all you care about is you're bored, you have nothing else to do, and there's nothing great on TV, so you're going to run in here and see what drama you can find in the true crime community now. It's sick.
I will say this. I agree. I agree with your rant about it's not entertainment, and I don't like when people do that because it softens what you're saying when you're saying, hey, this is just entertainment. I'm just trying to entertain you, right? I will tell you this. I know why that's done, because a lot of people are advised, right? Which is that if you state something and somebody thinks that you're the news and that you're reporting fact, or that you're trying to come across as a lawyer who's speaking facts, or a medical person who's speaking medical advice, you can get in big trouble. So the way to protect you is you say, look, I'm not a lawyer. I'm not the news. Everything I say is opinion. It's just entertainment. And it's a legal loophole, right? If I make sure you're clear, I'm not putting myself out as the authority. And therefore I'm telling you, which is funny because mainstream media they can just tell you things like they're the authority. I'm CNN and the killer just did this, and they're perfectly fine. But if I say I'm Lee and I say he did this, they're like, fucking defamation of character. That you're not a fucking news anchor. You can't just say that. And so I have to say, this is just entertainment. statement and it's just my opinion, because it's the only fucking
Yeah.
protection we have, because they'll go after us saying, well, you're trying to represent that as fact. And like
Well-
CNN and Fox represent shit as fact all day long and don't have to tell you that they're just entertainment, but they're doing the same thing we are.
I also read somewhere that if we go online, Lee, and sign up for it and order a press pass, like, JLR did and all that stuff, then we are literally considered to be press. And Kathy from Kathy's Indie Zone, she said, she does this kind of stuff, said that we're considered independent reporters. That's what we do. Okay. We're not affiliated with the thing. And it's true. So, you know, we can back ourselves up that way, but it's disgusting to me that you have to do that to be able to sit out here and have a conversation with people. And so, you know, I don't do that.
So,
whole thing.
if you don't mind, I love to educate people on constitutional issues. I want to take a moment to address that. The U.S. Constitution on freedom of speech does not recognize what press is. It does not define what press is. So Dago and I and Robin, we are just as much the press as anyone else. CNN has no other protections. There is no, listen to this. There is no government sanctioned press. The government cannot sanction who's allowed to talk about the news and who's not allowed. That's the whole point. Your government shouldn't be controlling your media. So the government cannot tell you CNN's allowed to tell you the news, but Dago's not and Lee's not. Freedom of the press is freedom of speech. It is that we have the same exact protection. So it is not true in any way, shape, or form that CNN's press and we're not press. We have the right to represent the media as well. And there is no, and the one thing I will say that Hitler did right in my, okay, not one, there's a few things Hitler did right, but one of the things Hitler did right was when they were talking about seating the press in the courtroom, he did make the comment, I'm not going to get into an argument about whether or not YouTubers are the press or not. So it's first come, first serve, because he understands there's no difference between a YouTuber and CNN. CNN and Fox and ABC News and AP News has to fight with devil's advocates for a seat in that courtroom. They don't get any special preferences because we in YouTube land are the press as well. And at least Hitler acknowledged, I'm not going to get into an argument about whether or not devil's advocates is the media or whether CNN's media. They can both fight for the fucking seat. And I agree with him. It's you know, treating them special, like they get some kind of special, hey, let's let Fox into the room, but we're not going to let devil's advocates. That would be saying that there's government sponsored press, but there's not. So.
No, 100%. I agree with you.
At least there shouldn't be.
No, right. And I've never been into that corner, I guess you could say. And I don't think I'd ever put myself in there. But if I had to, I would probably push that, what you just said there. You show me where this is proof and I'll walk away. Until you do that, leave me alone and go sit down. So yeah. Absolutely.
I have to give another real life story about what happened in line for Kohberger's plea deal. I was in line and there was a lady and it pissed me off and I kind of gave her a little attitude, but I'm not a guy that likes to give people attitude. But she decided, she was a regular person that's been with the media. Everyone in the media that was showing up knew her. Fox was there, like, oh, hey, look, it's you. Hey, good to see you. When was the last time you were, are you going to this trial? Are you going to that trial? So a lot of the media people knew the media people. And I'm sitting there in line. I'm third in line to get into the Kohberger thing. And in front of me is like AP News and Fox News. And this lady gets out a clipboard. She starts writing down and she tells everybody in line, okay, what agency are you with? I'm with ABC. Next person, what agency are you with? I'm on Fox. Then she comes to me and she says, what agency are you with? And I said, Devil's Advocates YouTube. And she goes, okay, public. And then she moves on to the next person. I'm like, wait a minute. Why are you putting down these people as press? And I just told you, like, that was my attitude. I didn't have this fight with her, but it pissed me off because she literally wrote down, oh, ABC, Fox, public. I was just public. So she's treating, again, this clipboard holder is treating the press. Oh, if you're with, what affiliate are you with? You don't have to have an affiliate to be in line. The fact that you're doing that and saying, oh, Fox is here in position 1 and CNN's in position 2 and some guy from the public's in position 3 is bullshit. Because I have every right to be in position 3, and you're kind of leaning towards the idea that, oh, well, the media needs to get there first. Let's bump him down like 12 spots and put him at the end of all the media.
So, and they don't like us anyway. Most of them don't like us because of the rumors that have been created about what we do or don't do, per se.
Right.
What we do is we make the press look bad because we tell more truth than they ever have. They don't like that because it destroys their narrative. And back in the day, they would just run their narrative, tell their story, and nobody said a word. It was okay then, not anymore. So
yeah. Whew, we've been on a rant. I think we've been on a 49-minute rant of just pissing and moaning about shit.
Sorry, I came in here like I did, but I was so hot when I came in. I'm like, maybe I shouldn't have, but damn.
It's all good.
It's pure stupidity, you guys. I mean,
It is.
Mhm.
It's like brain damage.
beyond, and you just sit there like the fog lights don't matter.
Yeah,
But
this
they
is great. So,
flip on.
satire was like that story that I think I told is why she subscribed back in the day. That story of it being in line at the Kohberger
yeah.
trial, and
Yeah.
it was an eye-opening experience. That was by the way, real quick, because I don't tell it a lot, so I'll tell you one more story. That was the day that a guy from AP News who was sitting right next to me said to a guy from, I think, Fox, he said, "Hey, I'm not real familiar with this trial. I'm here covering for another reporter. Can you get me up to speed?" And he goes, what happened? And he goes, "Well, Brian Kohberger was obsessed with one of the girls in that house, and he had been stalking her." And I'm sitting there listening to him like, and literally the AP News guy is now getting his information about what the trial's about, saying, "Oh, okay, thanks for getting up to speed. So Brian Kohberger was stalking one of the girls, was obsessed with Maddie, and decided to kill everybody in the house." And I'm just looking at him like, how is that guy literally going to go in the news tomorrow? And that was his source. Some guy in line who said a completely wrong story that's been debunked a long time ago. They literally said there's no connection to him and any of the girls. And that's the story this guy's going to get and go report on tomorrow.
That's right. And that's happened. How many times do you think, or do you know that that's happened, Lee? I mean, it's again and again and again. There's no stalking. When you have the prosecutor, when you have the lead detective, when you have the judge all saying there was no stalking, the man didn't clean his car with bleach at his parents' house, the man didn't throw his garbage next door in the neighbor's thing. When they're all saying this, and you still have these idiots saying
the same narrative. Yeah.
This is where I think it should be illegal. They should be held accountable. They should be fined for putting out purposely. I'm telling you, if you put out accidental information that is not true or that's misinformation by accident, that's a different story. You're doing this knowing it's not true because you follow all these same people that we all do. You've heard them say what they're saying. You've read the documents. You watch the news, just like we did, and you know it's a lie, and you're still saying it, and your people still believe you.
Yeah, and it's hard. It's hard. It's because on the one hand, I think I play devil's advocates with everything. I even play devil's advocates with the reporters. Maybe the news anchors literally don't have time to do research. So maybe they're not flat out lying. They just fucking don't know. They just don't know. They're literally, they get their talking points from someone who says what they're supposed to say on air, and they read a script and they don't know either. So maybe they're not flat out lying because maybe they don't know. Maybe they're just a talking head. I don't know.
And I'll give it for some, but the ones that have gone on to create YouTube channels.
Yes.
Yep.
Nope. No,
they know. Yeah.
No excuse. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I agree.
And it really kills me too. The ones that used to be prosecutors and defense attorneys and stuff like that have become reporters.
Yep.
They know better about how the court system is supposed to work, what prosecutors are and are not supposed to be doing, defense attorneys supposed to be doing and not doing. I mean, they know better, and that's another reason it's kind of disheartening to me when I watch some of them. It's like that's not what you used to say back when you were practicing law.
That's absolutely correct.
I have kind of an idea. For some judicial reform, but I don't know how to implement it. I want to run it by you. I believe it's true. The vast majority of judges in America were former prosecutors.
A lot, yeah.
The vast majority were former prosecutors. Shouldn't it be the other way around? In a country that believes in the presumption of innocence, shouldn't the majority of judges have been defense attorneys and had to defend people's rights to sit on a trial over somebody's life? Shouldn't they have been leaning in the direction of defending rights? Why do we have most of our judges be former prosecutors who already had the attitude of everyone's guilty as soon as we get them on trial? And why not make your judges be people who had a career in defending people's civil liberties and presumption of innocence?
Well, 100%.
Judging us.
100%. And here's a reason why. The judge's job in any case is to protect the defendant, guys. That's a fact. To protect the defendant's rights, to ensure that he's getting a fair trial, that he's not being, ripped apart and his rights are not being stomped on. That's a judge's job. In turn, that's why a defense attorney should be the one to do it. A prosecutor is more hard-nosed. They push for that defendant to be prosecuted, convicted, and imprisoned.
Yeah,
That is in no way, shape, or form the right way a judge should be. So.
And I want to highlight this user's thing, because when I told you, I said I have an idea for reform, but this is the reason why we can't do anything, because judges are voted. They're voted in. So how do you force the public to vote on former defense attorneys over prosecutors? That's the fundamental it's a problem. I mean, that's what I'm saying. I'm not sure if it's a problem or not, but I just feel like a step in the right direction would be if the majority of judges were former defense attorneys, not former prosecutors. But you're right, when they're elected officials and people genuinely seem to vote for prosecutors, because again, I think most Americans think that if you've been arrested for something, you must be guilty. They don't arrest people who didn't do something wrong. We need to educate fucking America that your head is on incorrectly if you think being arrested means you must have done something wrong, because they don't arrest innocent people. That's where we need to fix the problem. And until society realizes that's not the case, we're probably going to keep having people vote in people who believe that everyone who's been arrested is guilty.
Then they can mandate a law change legislation to where you cannot be a prosecutor and then run for judge too. That's the only way it's going to work, in my opinion. Right. That's the kind of reform I'm talking about. Yes. It would be nice if they had some kind of thing that you can't run for the office unless you've had at least X number of years being served as a defense attorney. Yes, sir.
So if they did that, then people still could have the power to vote for their judge, but the judge would have to have a certain number of years in which they've been a criminal defense attorney. That would be a fix, right? It would be the best of both worlds. You'd still allow people to vote for the judges they want to vote for, but it's a requirement to run for office that you have to have had a certain number of years as a defense attorney.
I agree with you, and I would support that 100,000% because it should be that way. And here's a lot of people, and it's not your guys' fault. A lot of people even that are out here, it is not your fault that you don't know this. You're not supposed to know these things. We know these things because we have to know these things. We've learned these things, training and process, if you want to call it that. But in Brian's case, for instance, it was not the job of the defense to prove that Brian didn't do this, folks. That's not their job and aspect. The job of this entire thing was that the prosecution had to prove that he did do it. Now, unfortunately, within this case, as we've all seen it, Ann Taylor had to step up, and she damn right had to try to step up and say he didn't do this to prove he didn't do this in some aspects. But that's how this works. A lot of people don't understand that. They think, Ann didn't do her job. She didn't prove that he didn't do it and didn't do it. That's not her job. She did her job, folks. She saved that man's life by taking the death penalty off the table with whatever she did. For whatever reason she did it, which I'm hoping one day we'll find that out. But she did her job to the best ability she could. She was cornered by, in my opinion, a prosecution and a judge that was working with the prosecution, doing something he shouldn't be doing, and had no other choice in that aspect. But people don't understand how this stuff works, that the judge is to protect the defendant, and that the defense is not there to prove that the defendant didn't do it. They're just there to defend his rights so that the prosecution cannot destroy that person while they're trying to prove that he did do it, which is what their job is. and that's there needs to be more education with that stuff, I think.
And it gets worse. I got a video dropping tomorrow morning at 8 in the morning about small town justice. It gets worse when you're in small counties and small towns, because then what happens is your prosecutor and your judge know each other and they're friends, and they go to coffee together and they go to beer together, and they have and the cops are all friendly with each other, and everybody the smaller the community, the more likely it is everyone in the judicial system is all buddies with each other, including to some extent the defense attorney who's buddies with the judge and so what it becomes the classic good old boy network. The more you're in a small county like Delphi, Indiana, the more you're in a small place like Letcher County, Kentucky, the more you're in a small place, then you have multiple people serving, and you've got cops who are also the jailer, who are also the home. You have a lot of they're involved in multiple jobs in the system, and that tends to lead to corruption because you've got too few people.
All the time. And that's what I was going to say. Letcher County is a perfect example of a situation that is most likely going to face many, many failures because of that exact situation, Lee. The sheriff shooting the judge. Sheriff Mickey Stein shot Kevin Mullins. Bunch of rumors are rolling around this small town area because of why. We come to find out because they're running as horrific as it is, a governmental-based sex ring out of the courthouse, guys. That's
Yeah.
insane. But it happens, and it's
Yeah.
there's so many higher ups involved in this that it's come out to this point that there's very possibly local FBI involved and people in higher offices and so on and so forth around this whole thing. And it's always been that way. So everybody knows everybody. Here's the thing, and I'm all about, shutting something like that down. And this is where people are going to get confused with me. I believe that Mickey Steins is a good person. I believe that Mickey Steins was a good sheriff. And I know that people within Letcher County, I should say, love him. Okay.
Yeah.
It's going to be very hard to prosecute that man because of the fact he's a hero right now. And let me understand or make myself understood when I say this. I believe the man needs to be prosecuted and convicted of a charge, not necessarily an extreme charge, because of what he was doing was, in my opinion, the man, Mickey seemed like he was backed into a corner, didn't have any other options per se, so on and so forth. Okay. But he still committed a crime and he's wearing a badge. That's a problem. Okay. You should still have to abide by specific laws. Now, what I mean by this is that I think he should still be charged, convicted, and maybe have a sentence of some sort, a punishment of some sort, but maybe not be what most people would think that sentence should be, is what my opinion is. But it's not going to be, it's going to be very hard to find a jury of his peers from this area that are not going to look at him and go, we love you and you're free. I don't think you should walk free, guys. I don't.
Right. Yeah, well, it's funny. And I brought this up before. Oddly enough, the prosecution wants to move that trial out of that area because they know people love the guy and they voted for him. So they don't think that they'll get a fair prosecution because too many people will let him off the hook, right? And so it's interesting because usually it's the other way around. Usually the defense is trying to move it out of the area because they think the guy can't get a fair trial in that local community. And it's the other way around. The prosecution is like, look, this guy's liked too much. And by the way, and again, the same thing with you. I want to be careful with when I say this because I agree with you. There's no question Mickey Stein shot the judge. It's on camera, right? There's no question. It's not, he doesn't have a mask on. There's not a question of identity. You know who pulled the trigger, so there's no question. So should a person be held accountable for his actions? 100%. I agree a person should be held accountable for his actions. But again, rhetorical question, nobody needs to answer this. You tell me, do you feel differently about somebody who murdered somebody because you cussed at them and they shot you dead in the face for calling him an asshole versus I just found out you raped my daughter, for example, and you killed the guy. If do you not understand there's a difference? And some people, a lot of people will say, I can understand why that guy killed somebody if he just raped his daughter or if he just got caught in bed with his wife or whatever. The circumstances, again, do make a difference. They do make a difference in people's minds. Is it still murder? Yes. But does the context matter? For a lot of people in America, and you don't have to answer it, context matters. So why Mickey Steins shot the judge can change it from cold-blooded murder, I don't give a shit why you did it, you shot him, he goes to jail for the rest of his life, to something like manslaughter. Like, well, no wonder he shot the guy. If this was happening, no wonder he fucking shot him. I'd shoot him too.
And there's a case out there right now. I'm sorry because of my rant. My brain is swimming right now, but I can't think of the name. But where there was a father whose daughter ran away and hooked up with this old gentleman, and she came. They got her back. Okay, they got her back. She did it again, and the father warned him. You know, the guy was put on probation. Blah blah blah. I think he was actually convicted, maybe, and people will correct me, I'm sure, but. Anyhow, the girl was not supposed to be around him. There was a restraining order and everything. She did it again. Young girl, underage, hooked up with this guy again. The father snapped and shot and killed the guy. Now, that situation alone, first off, the man was failed in some senses by the government, in my opinion, okay? Law enforcement, whatever you want to call it, to some extreme, but you can only control people to some extent. That's another situation with what you were just saying that I believe there should be a punishment, but it should be very lenient, I feel, because how can I say this? Like, it's very hard. Like you said, we got to be careful because it's hard to, okay, let me put it this way. I can't say that I wouldn't have done the same thing as a father of 2 daughters. Okay. And 4 granddaughters. So, I mean, it's hard to know where you're going to go in your mind with that, but should he be punished? Sure. You broke the law. We need to abide by the law no matter what. That's why it exists. But the punishment has to change, I feel, Lee and Robin, in a way that it has to fit the crime. And sometimes you can't do that. You know what I mean? And I believe that it's sad because in some cases, things like this have probably happened in the past. And there are people that ended up getting life in prison, and the circumstance was nothing along the lines of what would match that punishment. You know what I mean? So I think
look, our
issues there too.
Our legal system also understands, and a lot of people aren't going to like this, but our legal system also understands that if you kill somebody in self-defense, you can't be held accountable for it. You killing someone is no longer a crime if you killed them in self-defense. That's a lot of states believe that. So if you and so because of that, we also acknowledge that just saying, did this guy pull the trigger and end this person's life? Yes or no? That's not the whole thing. We asked the question, why did he do it? Well, the guy was threatening him with the gun and said he was going to shoot first, so he shot first. Oh, well, now it's a self-defense case. You're not going to be held responsible for self-defense if you can prove the guy was threatening your life and you feared for your life. All of those circumstances, and again, in Mickey Stein's case, we don't know exactly why. There's a lot of speculation. We don't know why it happened, but that's just it. People like you and I, Dago, I would argue, and Robin, we would like to know the story about why he did it, because it makes a difference, and it makes a difference to the sentencing as well.
Well, and what you're saying, like here,
question, and maybe you guys know the answer, because I don't. There are some states that allow not guilty in defense of others.
Yes.
And I don't know whether Kentucky is one of those states or not.
I don't know.
But I know there are some, and
it's often interpreted as the Good Samaritan rule, which is and a lot of states have it, which is that if you see a crime happening against somebody else, i.e. you're in a park and you see a woman being raped at knife point, you can do physical damage to the person raping her, and it's a Good Samaritan rule. You're not accountable for beating the fuck out of the guy that was raping somebody because you saw him harming somebody in front of you. Or if you see somebody murdering somebody in front of you, you can stop them with your gun and shoot them and kill them because they were killing somebody with baseball bats or something. So a lot of states do have a variation of the self-defense, which is a Good Samaritan rule, which is that if you're doing something for the good and it's clear that you're trying to save a life, you're not held responsible for that as well.
That's what I was going to go to right before that, and I didn't mean to kind of cut you off at the beginning there, Robin. I'm sorry about that.
No, that's okay.
What we have here in Ohio now, folks, is like it used to be, and my family's law enforcement, my uncle, grandfather, father, they were all, and they used to say, if somebody's trying to break in your house, shoot them and drag them in your house. That was what everybody used to say. Because we were not a stand your ground state, and we were not open carry. Now, and I carry, wherever I go, I do it. Whatever my house is, what it is. I'm protecting myself, my family, and I'm allowed to do that now. If somebody comes knocking on my door that's not supposed to be there, they're going to leave a different way than they got there. Is all I'm going to tell you. So, we also have the stand your ground law. If somebody comes at me, my family or something else, like you just said, I carry openly. I don't have to have a permit. I don't have to hide it. I don't have to do anything. It's right there. I can defend myself, and it doesn't, whether front, back. It used to be if you shoot them in the back, we got to look into that, blah, blah, blah. They're running away, all that shit. It doesn't matter anymore. You can do what you got to do to protect yourself, defend yourself. They look at it. It's dealt with. It's moved on. There's nothing left. There's nothing left there anymore. And you probably
grew up in the same era that I did, hearing this famous quote: "I'd rather be judged by 12 than carried by 6."
6, yes.
Yeah.
Right. Yep. Which is meaning I'll take the opportunity, and I will shoot somebody if they're going to try and kill me, and I'll take my chances with a jury, then have pallbearers carry me to my fucking grave because I didn't defend myself.
100%. Yes.
So I got Joe from State of the Deep backstage. Let me bring him up to the conversation so he doesn't spend too much long. Like, I wanted to comment on that, and you didn't let me up on stage, you sons of bitches. Joe, how you doing?
What's up?
Hi.
What's up, DA?
Hello.
Robin? Dago, what's up,
How are
guys?
you, boss? Good to see you.
Guns are good.
Yes, yes, they are.
Yeah, when I made that comment about I'd rather be judged by 12 than carried by 6, he knew, he was back there backstage nodding like he knew exactly what I was talking about. And in fact, you know where I first heard that? I heard that from a cop when I was a young man and I was looking to get my first concealed carry permit. I was asking him, like, am I making a mistake by carrying a gun? Like, because there's an argument, because I'm a thinker, right? So I was a thinker. I said, look, all of a sudden I can't get into a fist fight Because if I get into a fist fight with a guy on the street, all of a sudden my gun becomes his gun. Because if we get in a wrestling match, he's going to take my own gun from me and shoot me with my gun. So now all of a sudden I have to worry about what could have been just a scuffle on the street. I got to worry about that turning into a life and death situation. And the cop was telling me essentially, yeah, you have to think about all those things. However, I'd rather be judged by 12 than carried by 6. So if you're in doubt, you defend yourself first and then take your chances with the jury.
Right.
So, yeah.
You don't want to, you know, some people get guns and it's whatever. They have like an ego about it. I think if you're trained and you know that it's for emergencies and self-defense, and you know the old saying, it's better to have a gun and not need it than to need a gun and not have it.
I have it. That's right.
Yeah, right. There's a lot of little sayings. Yeah, the gun situation has been something that's, I mean, I don't want to, I mean, I know that a lot of people who are outside of America think, you goddamn Americans and your guns, everybody's got a gun and it's just a freaking wild, wild west out there. And I get it. Like, I don't want to make this a pro gun or whatever show. And that's not what it's all about. But I guess the whole point of what we've been talking about is that context matters. Why Mickey Stein shot the judge matters. Why, I would even argue, and I know that not everybody in this panel is going to agree with this, maybe, but even why, if Luigi Mangione shot Brian Thompson, it needs to know why. It's not just a matter of did he or not. Why did he do it? Context matters. All of these murders, context matters. And in my opinion,
the depth of the context matters too, Lee. That's another part of it. The context and the depth of that context is what matters. Like, for instance, with Linguini Manicotti, that one, you have to kind of look down a little deeper into that than just what's on surface, in my opinion, is all I'm saying.
Yeah, that's a much more complex case.
Yeah.
And I don't want to get into the nuance of it right now.
No,
but,
of course
but,
not.
But you know, but the bottom line is just all of these cases, it's not just a matter of black and white. And a lot of people live in a black and white world. Did he or did he not pull and in fact, when you get into the trial, that's what they'll try to do. Well, it's, you know, it's not a matter of did he not or bottom line, did Mickey Steins pull the trigger on the judge or not? Yes. And we rest our case. Well, I'm sorry, asshole, but that's not
doesn't work that way.
No. We need to talk about what happened. So yeah, that's exactly true. By the way, as an aside, on the Mickey Steins case, I had a video, I think it already came out, talking about the difference between criminal cases and civil cases. I think it already came out, but that's another thing to keep in mind too. In a criminal case, like in the case of Ben Fields, who was charged with 4 felonies: felony sodomy, felony rape, and 2 felonies of tampering with the ankle monitoring of a woman. Those were all felonies. He got convicted, or he pled guilty to 4 felonies, and got 6 months in jail. Now, actually, I think he got 7 years, but he served 6 months in jail. He's already back out on the streets again, living a normal life, so to speak. He's registered as a sex offender, and he's on probation. But 4 felonies, and he spent 6 months. That's it. But what a lot of people don't realize is that the real damage and the reason, in my opinion, the reason why people are getting killed, literally are getting killed in that case, is because it's the civil case that scares the shit out of everybody. Because all the criminal case is a black and white thing. Did he violate this law? Yes or no? It's not about the why and all the details and whatever. But when you get to the civil case, the civil case is about making the victims whole. And so the victims have an opportunity to say, it's not good enough that he was guilty. He needs to be fined a shit ton of money so he never does this again. We need to talk about the systemic problem in the law enforcement department in the first place that led to that happening. And so the civil case brings out all the dirty laundry. And so, yeah, he got his 6 months in jail and 6.5 years, I guess, of probation. But the reason why now a judge is getting killed and why maybe one of the people that was suing him in the civil case just ends up dying in the middle of that case and all the charges are dropped is because that civil case is where all the dirty laundry is going to come out. It's going to be where the names are going to be named, the text messages are going to be read, all the evidence is going to be seen to assess what we just talked about. Context matters. The jury is going to make a decision based on the context. Is there a bigger penalty that needs to happen than just the little 6 months in jail kind of thing? And that's the thing that scares the shit out of people. So anyways, I know it was a weird side tangent I just went on, but it's a similar thing, by the way, that happened with the O.J. Simpson, right? O.J. Simpson was found not guilty of criminal charges, but the civil charges is what hammered him, right? He got hammered in the civil charge. And a lot of people thought the case was over when he got, the juice is loose. He's not guilty of murder. And everybody was all celebrating. And then next thing you know, he's in prison. And like, I don't understand why he's in prison. I thought he was not guilty. Civil cases. The civil case is where the real shit hits the fan.
And it's a lower standard.
Yes,
I believe he went to prison because he broke into somebody's house and stole back some of his memorabilia.
His football memorabilia.
Right.
Yeah. Right.
But yeah,
the thing is, he never paid a dime in that civil case.
Right.
He never. Those families never saw money at all.
Nothing.
Look, I don't think Exxon has paid a dime from the Exxon Valdez spill. How long ago was that?
Yeah, they never.
Yeah, and Joe's point, and it's all in my video that I think I already aired it, or maybe it's coming out. Fuck, I don't know. I lose track of time. Joe is absolutely right. In a criminal case, it's guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. That's the standard, beyond the reasonable doubt. In a civil case, it's the presumption, or it's the
preponderance of evidence.
Preponderance of evidence. It's a much lower standard. Preponderance of evidence. There, you can actually make an argument to a jury. Well, what is it? What if it looks like a duck and it quacks like a duck? Is it probably a duck? You don't have to prove it beyond reasonable doubt. You just have to give them the preponderance of the evidence. So, anyways.
Well, yeah, it should be guilty beyond a reasonable doubt for criminal cases, but we all know that that's not the way it works.
Right.
Because remember, the key is you just have to convince the jury of that, that they're guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. Yeah. And a jury can be swayed by, again, like, look at the Idaho 4 case. I mean, there's the actual facts don't line up with what the narrative has been since the PCA.
Right.
And the more we see, and okay, this is my fault, but I've been really busy now because it's the winter season here in the mountains, right? It's extremely busy. So I've been busier, but I still go on Reddit and I look when people post documents and things. So I try to see, and have you guys seen that the Dylan's old text that was floating around that they were bound and gagged and it was like considered a hoax and all that's going around again?
Yeah, I didn't see that.
That's making the rounds on the some of the Idaho 4, one of the particular ones on Reddit. And I also saw some other documents that I don't. Do you want me to not go into this? Because I know.
No, go ahead.
Go
ahead. We're free flow tonight. So
okay. And by the way, I wanted to make sure I came in and was able to, give some New Year's cheer for everybody. I'm going light because I have to work tomorrow. But I did screenshot. Let me see one of the things here. A couple of things.
What do you do again? What do you do for a living, Joe?
I have a municipal job as my day job, and I play music on the weekends.
Another musician. There's so many of us out here. It's crazy.
Are you a musician too, Dago?
Yes, sir. I'm a drummer. I've been a drummer since I was 10 years old, and I play bass guitar as well.
Nice, man. Yeah,
we need to make a band.
Yeah, I'm a singer and a guitar player. I've been doing it, playing gigs for 35 years. I've been
good deal
doing it. And I live near a resort area, so there's a lot of work. And the winter's a busy time, so I'm starting to get busy with gigs again. But I just see these, like, a few documents that I've dropped. Like, one I saw today was about the blood collected. I'm sure some of you guys probably saw that. Another
I was going over that earlier.
The supplemental narrative one was about the camera. The 1112, you guys probably saw that. It confirms that there was audio on that time frame.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we know
Jules has been saying that they lied, and there is confirmation that they had audio on it.
Right. Which of course they did. Of course they did. I mean, it's astonishing how far we're almost 4 years. We're basically a little over 3 years away from the initiation of this whole event in Idaho 4. And yet I listened to you guys while I was driving home. So many people cannot get away from the official narrative, no matter how much evidence they are presented with.
No.
And I think it's a fundamental problem. And DA and I talked about this quite a bit with the Deep Devils thing that we did. Some people, their minds are locked into this sort of official narrative way of thinking. And it's interesting because it's all psychology. Some people just need a narrative. They're not really concerned about the truth.
Mhm.
I mean, I don't want to spin up Dago again, but you missed. We started out with the whole, like, the fog light issue now.
I heard it. I was listening to the whole thing.
Oh, you heard me going
Oh
crazy.
yeah, I love it, dude.
I'm
love
sorry.
it.
I'm just fucking fed up, Joe. I mean, I'm like you're saying here. I mean, enough. When is enough going to be enough? Okay, like we sit out here day after day after day. We point out specific things. We show it to the whole world. The people that choose to look at it, they see it. These people, and then we also have that. I've noticed that the people that are on, I guess I'll say, our side of the fence, we look at the other side of things too and say, yeah, we can see this, and yes, I can see that, and that makes me wonder. Like we both have said, we have all said at some point, I don't know that Brian did this or didn't do this for sure, but I've always said too, I do believe on my side of things from what I've seen, there's no way that he did it on his own. And I still even question if he had an involvement at all because of what I've seen. But I will look at the other side. These people,
they won't even look.
They don't even care. They don't want to even think about looking over there because anything you show them, there's an automatic, some dumb shit like clip on fucking fog lights. Okay.
They go saucy tonight.
I mean, truly, something like that will come out, or they'll make a comment like the fog lights don't matter. It's Brian's car. But how does that make any sense? The fog lights are on the car, and if they're not, then that means it's not the car, and they don't want to hear it. So,
dude,
no,
sorry.
they don't.
I told this story on here before, but not with you, Dago. Many years ago, probably 25 years ago, I started a blog on blogspot.com for anybody who remembers that.
Yes.
And I literally, my first article was about how people, it was two things the article addressed. It was cognitive dissonance, and it was about how people get compromised and why it happens and how it happens.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing about cognitive dissonance that's so relevant to true crime cases is that most people don't realize cognitive dissonance shuts down critical thinking.
Yes.
If an idea or information is threatening to somebody's previously held belief about anything, about themselves, about a case, about the government, whatever it is, the cognitive dissonance creates too much discomfort in their minds that it literally, it's a survival instinct. It's in our DNA. It shuts down critical thinking. Yeah. And I think the idea, and it applies to everything. It applies to politics, to corruption. It applies to corruption on every level. It's a very scary idea to think that people can do evil things for nefarious reasons or just because they're lazy or whatever it is. That idea creates a very uncertain outlook on the world. And I think people like things to be black and white. Mm-hmm. And I think there's a certain type of person, a free thinker. And I think we all fit into that mold. I think all of us, I think Birdie's like that. I think there's other creators that are like that as well, who are not afraid to face the discomfort of being wrong.
Yeah.
And I think it's a fundamental problem that we're dealing with in society. And it's relevant in many, many ways.
But some of this though, Joe, and I agree with you. That's an absolute issue. I agree. And I'm going to apologize up front because it's probably going to rile me right back up when I say this. But when you have,
I love it.
When you have dumb fucks like this idiot that does this, okay? I tried, Lee. I tried to hold it back, but I can't. Okay? I just can't. He's a fucking idiot, and I'm sick of his shit. When you have these people that do this, okay, and they're pushing, and this person's a dumb fuck anyway, because he treats his people like shit. He demands things
Yeah.
from them. So this person is not a good person all the way around. So it's almost like you're purposely doing this. Like, I gotta wonder, because I believe he's smart. Okay, that's the scary part and the problem. I believe he is intelligent to some level. So that tells me that what you're saying is a fucking lie. You know that what you have said about him cleaning the car, about him doing this and doing that, is an absolute lie. But you're going to continuously say it to these people who you know are very impressionable, who are very confused. So that's an intellect issue, that you're just fucking with your people, and it's wrong. I'm sorry, okay? And you're doing this repeatedly, day after day after day after day, on purpose, in my opinion, just so that you can have the glorious feeling of being right, because you're the God Almighty in your fucking brain dead world, okay? And that's what I'm saying. It makes me so mad, you guys, and I'm deeply sorry for my language, but I can't handle people like this anymore. I see so many of them, especially this idiot that has been out here for years, doing the same thing again and again and again and again in multiple cases, and just won't. You refuse to look at it any other way. If they're guilty, they're guilty. If they got arrested, they're guilty. If they said they did it, they're guilty. Grow up. Like, expand your mind a little bit. So, and again, I agree with what you were saying, Joe. I don't think it pertains to this person, because I think they're purposely doing all of this stuff, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, I mean, there are some people that are. I made a post on during one of the lives this past week about Jiffy Jeff. You know who I'm talking about.
Yes, I do.
Jiffy Jeff. I call him Jiffy Jeff.
Yeah,
He doesn't believe half the things he's saying.
I agree.
There is a percentage of people that are trolls.
Yes.
And there's also a percentage of content creators that, and not just in true crime, in other avenues as well, that they know they get rich, quite frankly.
Sure.
Because what they do is they push a narrative. A narrative is very different than trying to find the truth.
Yes.
And and in my opinion, there's such a thing as lying by omission.
Yes.
Right. So you know things that would impact your argument, but you leave them out conveniently because you know. Now, I am not interested in. Everybody likes to be right. We're human beings, right? We all want to be right. We all want to be like, aha, see, I know what I'm talking about. But truth seeking is not always popular. And I've taken a lot of slings and arrows because of how I am, because of I speak my mind, and I always have. And it's not always great socially, because some people are threatened by that.
Of course.
And truth seeking, in my opinion, and DA and I have talked a lot about this kind of stuff. We spent way too much time together in Idaho. I mean, what, 5 days straight? We talked about a lot of shit, and we may not always agree, but we'll wrestle it out. We'll challenge each other.
Yes.
And that's important. I don't like.
That's
if I disagree, one disagrees with me. I disagree with him. DA disagrees with me. I disagree. But we hash it out. You have to be able to present an argument.
That's it. And you can do that.
And that's why.
That's the thing.
That's why I get so angry. I get viscerally angry and start shouting on my show when people say, "Oh, you're a clickbaiter. You're just saying things for click." And I get pissed. I have fucking integrity. If I say things on this show, it's because I believe it. If I say it, it's because I believe it. And I will be the first to tell you I was wrong. I did think this. I'll tell you what I thought it. I'll lay it out for you one more time. This is the reason I thought those things. But in light of what you just showed me, I was wrong. How many people don't do that because they're so stuck on having to tell their narrative, and then they come to me and say, "Oh, you're a clickbaiter." Like I'm not clickbaiting shit. Like if I'm saying it, it's because I really think it has teeth. And oftentimes I'll even weaken my own argument before I tell you. I'm like, look, before I tell you this, there's a reason already. I'm going to tell you that I might be wrong. And I'll sometimes even tell you the counter to my argument before I lay it out, because I want to be fair with shit. I'm like, look, before I get into this, there's a reason to think I'm wrong, and here's what it is, but let me present it anyways. And a lot of people don't do that shit.
I do the same thing. And I'll say right out of the gate, guys, I'm going to say this, and this is absolutely, and you see me do it. This is in my opinion, okay? And I'm probably wrong when I say this, but, and then I do that on purpose because I don't know if I'm right or wrong, but it's a thought. This other fucking idiot does not ever do anything like that, okay? That's what bothers me.
No.
And you shouldn't be out here doing this to people. It just, I'm going to stop because I'm going to continue going on and on about it, and I don't want to do that to you guys. I'm sorry.
And I will say, to DA's credit, and I'm not an ass kisser. If we disagree, we disagree. We've had some pretty long discussions.
For sure.
He's not afraid to battle it out a little bit. We've had like pretty intense discussions about different ideas, different things. He doesn't get threatened if I have a different perspective than he does. And I don't give a shit about, like, I never wanted to be an influencer or anything like that. All I care about is trying to find the truth and finding people that are not afraid to be unpopular. And I think it's important to hash things out. And maybe we all learn as we go along. We're all capable of learning things. Like, all right, we found this out, so this changes the way I look at things a little bit about this or about that. And I've maintained all along, I never once said that Kohlberger is innocent. I've only spoken about, like all of us have, the inconsistencies and my kind of approach to most things is the big picture about things and how it affects everything. And so like I said, DA is good with that. He's really good with not being afraid to address shit.
Sure. And that's admirable. I agree with that. I try to be that way.
Yep,
with people,
absolutely.
But, that person you brought up, Joe, too, that's a different scenario to me, in my opinion. I've dealt with that person for 3 going on 4 years, and they seem to like to be in that spotlight of negativity.
Yes.
That's what I'm trying to say. It seems to be like an enjoyable circumstance for them, which at some point you got to kind of step back and go, are you getting some kind of sick, like, justice in your own mind out of this or something? Or do you enjoy did mommy beat you when you were young or something and you're trying to flash back to that? Or what the fuck are you doing? It's weird, but no matter what you say to this person, they will create an argument for you to wrap yourself up in. And I never had, you can ask I see the Blue Crews in here, a lot of them. You can ask them 3 years. I'll give it 2 solid years. I put up with everything from that same person, Joe. And I always gave them a 3rd, 4th. There's like 32 accounts they've been in my channel with, and I would never block it and never block it and never block it. Yeah, it was a lot. And then finally my people are looking at me like, are you stupid or something? And because they would never really get to me until recently. And I'm finally like, okay, guys, I get it. And I'll do it. But they just keep going back for more and more and more because it's a negative reaction. And yes, I am. It's a negative reaction. And I think the negativity is what they thrive on. That's something that's a little different for me, like psychologically.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I understand what you were saying. And I fully agree with you on what you're talking about. But this situation over here, it's either that or this person is, and I've been told this before, okay, and I'm not a real big conspiracy theory, but I've also been told that this person was planted here to push that specific narrative no matter what happens and try to change all of our minds, which explains why that person goes to 32 different channels day after day and continuously makes the same argument. So it's one of those two things, okay? And it's an odd situation for me to see.
Do you guys remember when we had the person in the chat like 2 weeks ago that was like, I'm a state attorney and my father is a federal investigator.
Yeah.
So I know this is, and I'm like, oh, the
So I
feds
have
never
I have
lie.
the credentials, and but I'm yeah.
So what?
Like,
Yeah.
I don't usually attack people in the chat, but that shit fucking pissed me off, man. It's like, oh, so we should
Yeah.
stop talking about things because you're a state attorney
You're
and
the
your dad's a federal. No, she said her dad's a federal judge and I'm a state attorney or something like that. And it's like, so what does that mean? That's the expert class whole fucking narrative.
You know what though, Joe? That's sad though. That's what makes it worse to me because I don't have a law degree. I'm pretty sure you don't. Robin don't, and I don't believe any of us do. I don't carry a badge with me. I don't any of that stuff, and I can still look and see what's right, what's wrong, what's dumb, what's not, what's bullshit, what's not. If you have those credentials and you're still sitting here pushing and fighting this, there's something wrong there. I'm sorry.
Yeah, and that's the only time I've ever gone off on anybody in the chat. I was just like, so what does that mean? You're biased. That's
Yeah.
They're
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
oh, I know people in Moscow. I'm like, okay, so you
So do
sound
I.
like you're biased. Everything
Right.
you're telling me implies that you're biased.
Yes. Yes.
It's funny. It's almost like tonight's the night for people who trigger us because it's the same thing happened. The same thing happened the other night when I told you somebody in my chat said, you know, DA, my family is all law enforcement in Idaho, and we watch your show and laugh at you. And I'm like, fuck off! Like,
Right.
what's wrong with your fucking family?
Thank you
like,
for your view,
first
you
of all,
dumbass.
you are
Right.
morons if you sit there and watch my show just so that you can heckle me. Like, what's wrong with go get a life? Like, go find something else to do. Why would you? Anyways, and then
Well,
I'm thinking to
check this
myself,
shit
okay,
out, guys.
okay,
One of
probably
my
lying to you.
closest
Anyways.
friends, he's like a brother to me. I've known him since I was a teenager. He was a state trooper in New Jersey, and he was a federal corrections officer at the Supermax prison in Colorado. And he was there when like Timothy McVeigh was there and all that stuff. And he and I have battled, man. We have had some total like long discussions, not heated. I wouldn't say heated, but you know, he's coming from that background. He was a state trooper. He was a federal corrections officer at the most infamous fucking prison in the world, arguably. And we would have some really heated, not heated, but intense discussions, borderline heated about things, about cases, because he was more kind of into the mindset of official story. This guy did this and this guy did that. And I would say, well, dude, look at information that's come out about this case or that case or this or that. And I think it's good because we never let it affect our friendship.
Sorry, I just laughed at a chat. Sorry.
No, that's all right. I'm just saying I've had these long discussions with people that are in a different mindset than I am about things. And I'm not politically inclined. I hate all politicians. And we've talked about this a lot.
Yeah.
Everybody's entitled to believe what they want to believe. That's what this country is supposed to be about. And the only, the old saying, let the marketplace of ideas. That's how you learn. You don't learn by censoring people. You don't learn by getting pissed that somebody has a different opinion than you. You learn and you grow by wrestling with ideas and wrestling with different opinions.
But we've lost the ability in this
feel like-
country to do that because we're not taught it in schools any longer.
Yeah.
Where I mean, at least when I was going to school, I mean, we did have some like debate club and things like that, and but we're
Civics.
not teaching our young people that
Yep.
it's okay to have a difference of opinion and talk to one another about it. That seems
Yes.
to be dead and gone.
I agree, Robin, and like it's talked about quite a bit. They don't teach civics in school anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And I know everybody knows who Joe Rogan is, right? He's the biggest podcast in the world. He's talked about this a lot, repeatedly on his podcast, that there used to be big debates between, like on TV, network TV, between people, with different political opinions. And they would have intense, long, 3-hour long debates. And that does not happen anymore. If your ideas are good and they're sound, then you should be able to argue them.
Agreed. My high school.
Yeah, and I don't want to get. Go ahead.
My high school. I was just gonna say my high school. They had debate club when I went to high school. Okay, about 3-4 years after I left, they took it out because they said it promotes violence. Debate club promotes violence, and that's why they no longer did it within the school system. And it's like, what? You can't control violent tendencies. You can't just argue something without being a dick, you know?
Yeah, we talked about this on one of my shows and one of my videos in the Charlie Kirk assassination thing. They did a study in college campuses, and more college students view a difference of opinion as hate speech and violence.
Yes.
If you disagree with me, then why are you coming at me? Why are you attacking me? So you having a difference of opinion of me is considered a violent act, and therefore I can act in violence against you because your words, if you disagree with me, that's coming at me in violence. And now and it's like, when did we get pussified as a country? Where having a difference of opinion means that you are violent. Like like Robin said, we have lost the ability to have a civil conversation and just agree to disagree. What happened to the phrase, let's just agree to disagree? Now it's like, you just came at me. That's hate speech. I'm going to throw your ass in jail for disagreeing with me. Like, what
100%.
the fuck's wrong with people?
That's why everything has changed. They're changing things that have been, you know, and I understand certain things. Don't get me wrong. You know, like, okay, for instance, they changed up the, and I know this is a little sideways, but it relates back to it. They changed the Cleveland Indians baseball team to the Guardians. They changed the Redskins name. They did that. Those things I understand, but they're changing things due to the fact that everything now has to be so severely politically correct. It's been like this for 500 years, and now all of a sudden it's a problem. Everything has gotten so soft. Everything hurts everybody's feelings. Everything is this. Everything's that. That is exactly which I feel like you're talking about it. And it makes, when and why did this happen? What caused this, you guys?
Let's move it into
social engineering, in my opinion.
Yeah, let's move it into the true crime space. We're not allowed to talk about people murdering people. We gotta say that they pew-pewed them, or you got SA'd because you can't be sexually assaulted in this country.
Right.
You can't be raped in this country. You had to be SA'd. The fact that we can't even say the words anymore, and we got to say stupid. You know, like, again, I lost my mind when I first started hearing unaliving. So and so was unalived, and I'm like, I turned to look, I'm like, when did that become a thing? When do we unalive someone? Like, the fuck? Yeah. And I'm like, we have become so pacified in this country that we're not allowed to talk about anything. We can't say certain words because it might trigger somebody. It might make them feel uncomfortable. And you, therefore, if you do talk about it, it's hate speech. And like, okay, we're going on New Year's Eve piss party is what we are right now.
Though. It's all true.
During the Doge audits, now I'm not a big fan of Elon Musk. I'll say that right out of the gate. During the Doge audits, they released a bunch of documents about funding, right? They were looking into funding, and there were millions of dollars under the heading social engineering. I mean, many, like 50 million, like a lot of money under social engineering, right? Now, to what Dago was talking about, you guys know I'm pretty much an open book for the most part, but like several years ago, I went through a breakup and I went on a motorcycle trip by myself, a 2,200 mile motorcycle trip by myself. And I live out west, and I went all through the Southwest, and I did a lot of traveling through the Navajo Nation. And I was in the middle of the desert. I was between the Grand Canyon and Lake Powell, somewhere in the middle of that area, like a very, very, very remote area. And then, by the way, the Navajo Nation is very depressing. It's really sad.
Yeah.
The land that they were given. And I mean, really, really repressed. It's very sad.
Yep.
And I was in the middle of nowhere, and I'm riding, you know, nothing around. And I come upon a Navajo high school. Do you know what their team name was? The Redskins. This is in the Navajo Nation.
That's wild.
So they don't give a fuck about this shit.
Right.
They're proud of it.
Exactly.
Just like the Fighting Irish was a slur when the Irish came to America. The Notre Dame, the reason why they're called the Fighting Irish is because it was a lot of Irish professors at Notre Dame.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a slur against Notre Dame by opposing teams and other people.
Right.
And you know what? They took it and they flipped it upside down and they owned it and proudly became the Fighting Irish. And so I guess that speaks to the point about all this trying to soften everything and you can't erase history.
No.
History is ugly. There's ugliness in history. Don't erase it. Flip it upside down, embrace it. And you designate what the meaning of that shit is.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And it's funny, you know, that stuff you're talking about there, like I started with the Aunt Jemima company, they changed that, they changed the name there, and they're changing it, I guess, the look of it. And then they did it with Uncle Ben's Rice too, and they changed all that up. Those families that own those companies, they didn't want that. They didn't want it touched. They were proud of that, like you said. It created and made them what they are, and they've argued in some senses, why are you doing this? This is who we are, and we like it, we want it, we love it. And they're changing it. They're forcing people into these ideals, Joe and Robin, and they're making it. And Lee, now that you're back, they're making people think this way, no matter whether they want to or not, and controlling their minds and their thought processes. And people are saying, no, we don't. We like Uncle Ben's. That's our name. We want that there. Leave it alone. And people are arguing it and pushing it as hard as they can. And again, I'm not trying to make a political situation. I'm just saying it has become all of that, in my opinion. So
yeah, man, it's not political. Look, speaking about life, what's happening in the world is not, in my opinion, is not political.
Right.
It's addressing the real everyday shit that's been going on in the world.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, I just think personally, you know, my grandparents were not American citizens. My father's parents fled Belfast. You know, there was a lot of they were from Belfast. They came to the United States. My mother wasn't even born in America. You know, like you have to look at the world and accept what it has been instead of trying to whitewash everything that's happened.
Yeah.
You can't do that. And I think
I agree.
this sounds like we're off in left field, but we're not, because it ties into everything. The unaliving, the trying to euphemize everything.
Yes.
That's not helping anybody.
No.
It's
And
creating.
in some way,
Go ahead, Lee.
in some ways, I feel like it's the same thing that's happening now when people defend the presumption of innocence. You're considered a murderer lover. Somehow we've now changed the script that believing in the Constitution and the presumption of innocence means that you just love killers. You're just a sick bastard.
Bingo.
You want to make money off of people's pain and what, like, we've flipped the script now where the ideals that we used to have, believing in presumption of innocence and civil liberties, has become a shameful thing. Oh, well, you're one of those fucking civil liberty people, conspiracy nut, who thinks that people are actually innocent when we know they're guilty.
Yeah, man. Look,
it's insane. It is absolutely insane. And you are correct, sir. Absolutely correct.
I mean, we're all.
Why is it that? Why is it that suddenly we're wrong because we want to protect the Constitution? These people ought to be standing up and cheering it. There's people like, you creators out here who are actually doing that. They ought to be applauding that, and yet they're coming at, we're so wrong because, we question someone who waits 8 hours before they call the police after a brutal, heinous crime is committed against 4 innocent people.
They look
But
right
that's
past
wrong.
it. They look right past it, Robin. They don't even look at that portion of what you just
You
said.
know,
They look right on past it and they go directly for something completely different that has nothing to do with what we're doing.
I think one of the things that's happened that's contributed to this is, I think, certainly the younger generation, for sure.
Yes.
But a portion of society doesn't realize they literally wouldn't have any aspect of the life they have. And I know shit's fucked up right now. I'm not trying to sugarcoat shit. I'm a
Right.
working class dude. I'm one of 8 kids. I grew up in a blue collar family. I'm not sitting here saying, oh, everything's fantastic. I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is I think there's a large portion of the population, particularly people younger, that don't realize how different the world would be, our world, without the Constitution.
Yes.
And the
Right.
one thing
Right.
I am not, DA can totally verify this. We've talked extensively. I hate all politicians equally, right?
Right.
I'm a
Right.
libertarian. I'm
Amen.
not anything really, but the whole idea, guns was a little bit of the topic we talked about earlier. Every single civilization, every society to date that has been disarmed, without exception, has been subjugated. We have the Constitution, right? It's not perfect. I agree. I totally agree. It's not perfect. But if we did not have it, we would not be here right this second,
That's
being
fact.
able
Right.
to talk about the things that we talk about. And it's under attack. It's under attack.
So let me take a moment real quick. First of all, I want to say what a blessing it's been tonight. We've ranted for a long time, just about general bitches about life and society's changes. Not really a true crime thing. Like we're a true crime channel, and yet we've waxed philosophically about the societal woes and the condition that we're going in, and yet we've held an audience of like 300 people. So thank you so much for people, because I feel like for a lot of people, it's really resonating with the audience that there's a societal problem, and it
I
does.
love it.
It does relate to true crime, because we're not allowed to talk about true crime like a fucking adult anymore, because they've tried to take away our voice and tell us that there's something wrong. We should be ashamed of ourselves for believing in people's civil liberties, for questioning and saying, wait a minute, maybe this isn't right. Maybe we should stop. Maybe this isn't right. And they're like, well, something's wrong with you. Why aren't you accepting the narrative? We've told you how it happened. Something's wrong in this country. As I do that rant, I want to say this. All across America, it's getting close. East Coast is getting close to celebrating New Year's in America. It's a big time for a lot of people. It's especially a big time for me. My wife and I are going to go watch some music and get ready to move into the New Year's ourselves on the West Coast. I do want to give you guys the opportunity to keep the show going without me if you want. Otherwise, we'll wrap up and let people get to their New Year's celebrations. But I do want to take the wife out, have some music and stuff like that, and kind of enjoy my favorite holiday of the year. And while this is a super important topic, and I don't want to bail on us, I want to give you that option. Do you guys want to keep the show going without me? And again, I'm going to be gone for like a couple hours. I could come back, but if you guys want to just wrap it up, we can wrap it up. But I want to get a poll from you guys. How do you guys feel?
I'm good with whatever you guys do.
Hey, I could pour another half a glass of wine and we could rant a little bit more, but it's totally up to you.
I'll stick around for a little while. My wife fell asleep. I knew she would. She started early, so yeah.
Robin, you're the boss.
I can
Robin.
hang out for a little while longer, and then I'm gonna actually go celebrate myself. But
Sure,
I can hang out for a little while.
I probably got another good hour.
Yeah,
I can go, or close to.
I'm gonna pour another
here's
half
what we're
a
gonna-
glass.
Well, now, yeah. So I
Here's what we'll go with this. Robin has the only other control to my feed, right? She's a StreamYard owner of my channel. So when Robin's done,
so maybe
the show is done.
move it.
But I do want to go take a moment to go off. Happy New Year's to everyone across America. Again, Happy New Year's Eve, but Happy New Year's very, very soon. My favorite time of year. This conversation tonight was cathartic. If you don't know the word catharsis, my wife would say, thanks for mansplaining everything. Catharsis is when you get to vent and get things off your chest and you feel a little better. Tonight was a night about catharsis. We got a little opportunity so far, and maybe you guys will continue without me to just say some shit. Like, I'm tired of this bullshit in this country. It felt good.
I guess I'm sorry I started that, but it's turned out good, I think.
It turned out great. And if you want to keep at it, that's fine. But looking forward to next year, let's kick some ass next year. Let's see if we can get some, maybe some let's get some light on some of these cases that clearly are wrongful situations. Whether or not the convicted really is correct or not, we know the cases were mishandled. Let's shed some light on things. Let's try to push towards people being adults and be able to talk about things and disagree with each other and have a dialogue in this country without calling each other names and trying to shame each other off the platform. For everyone that wants to stay, great. You guys have a good night and have a great New Year's. I'll talk to you guys
Happy
later.
New Year, DA.
Lee.
Happy New Year.
Thank
Lee.
you. Thank you.
Happy New Year, Rhonda.
I'm gonna just have a
You
look
watching?
quick,
I don't know.
another little sip, and then I'll hang. You know, however long you guys want. We don't have to go long.
No,
I'll be
Yeah,
right
well,
back.
I can
it
go
won't-
on roughly another hour. So either way,
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
well, I
feel
won't
like
be
I
on.
take
I
off.
won't be on quite that long because I do want to go celebrate a little bit. But
No worries.
you know, yeah. So
I'll be right back.
okay. But no, I think this has been a really great conversation to have tonight. Kind of
Yeah.
getting rid of all the old type of the negative going into the new year.
the
You know,
new year.
looking ahead to all the positive stuff. I mean,
Yes.
you know, we've got a lot to be thankful for this past year, but these topics are so important.
They are.
Yeah.
They're very, and that's another thing, Robin, I have to say, because I noticed when I became a content creator out here, I came out when I first started. I started in another community where in a drug.
Uh-oh. You're frozen, Dago.
Oh.
Uh-oh. There you go.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, you were
Okay.
you were all kinds of frozen.
Sorry about that.
No, that's okay.
So that's how I started on YouTube, and I was sticking up for people that were being bullied on a regular basis. It was just sad, you know. I watched it, so I'm like, somebody's got to do something. Anyway, it got old. My wife was like, why don't you go do something that you like to do with this, since you seem to be good at it, blah, blah, blah. You like to talk to people, whatever. So I started into this stuff. And I'll tell you right now, I've never expected what I came into. With not being able to say, like Lee was saying, the things that we can't say, so on and so forth, and the rules that YouTube has alone, okay? The things that you will get struck for, and you're,
Oh my God.
it's like, what are you doing?
Ridiculous.
It is truly. Well, you know, I got, when I first started, this is no lie, I got struck, and they tried to suspend me for 7 days because somebody on my panel spoke the word, the capital C. I don't know if it still happens or not, but that caused the pandemic. Okay. They said that word.
It was ridiculous when they were doing that.
Yeah. And I fought it. I won it, and I came back. But the point is like, why can't you, that's taking this to a level in an extreme that I can't even imagine. They don't want you to talk about any of that kind of stuff. So I found that out the hard way. I dealt with it, moved on, didn't do it. And I realized that you cannot, and I say this in my channel constantly, where we don't, if somebody will start doing it, I'm like, we don't talk about politics or religion in here, because it turns into this massive turmoil, and it's like a nonstop grudge fight. And it's like, whoa, stop. And we don't do it. And that is what I'm saying. Like, people, it's almost like they push it and want to have that angriness in here on this platform. If I'm having a conversation on my front porch with somebody else, it's nothing like that. But in here, it's like that. And it's weird to me. I don't understand. Anyway, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Welcome back, Joe.
And then there were 3 musicians left.
Yeah, the 3 musicians. the drummer, the guitar player, and the singer.
There you go. There you go.
But it's just, and it's like, you know, they're like, well, you know, people, they want to protect the young people from hearing this stuff. Well, then be a parent and know what your kid's doing with their electronic devices. Yeah. But the rest of us out here ought to be able to talk about adult matters in an adult fashion. And if you're into cozy mysteries, don't watch true crime.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy that, I don't know, man. I've always found out through wrestling with ideas. Like I've come to my beliefs about things by wrestling with them and trying to figure things out. And I understand why people are the way they are. It's not that complicated, but I just think there's not a black and white picture for everything.
No.
And I just think it's unfortunate because I say this all the time. The big picture is this applies to everything. You know, I think the world's in the mess that it is right now because everything's black and white, this side versus that side.
Yep.
And I just think that's the way that certain entities want it to be.
I agree with that.
I agree.
And that's go ahead, Joe. Sorry.
I was just gonna. I just wanted to share a story with you guys that's relevant to true crime. How I got interested in it back in about 97, 98. I was living in LA and I got a job doing event marketing, and I had to travel all over the country for a few months to do these events at colleges. And one of the events I did was in Tucson, Arizona. So I had to fly back to New Jersey, pick up a truck, a box truck, and drive by myself to Tucson, Arizona. And I had to be there by a certain time. Like it wasn't like a leisurely trip.
Right.
And I never had any experience with truck stops really at that point in time. I never had a diesel vehicle. And so I would have, you stop at these truck stops to fill up with diesel, and they had the cassette tapes that you would rent, and then they had like a pamphlet, and it would tell you on the way where you could return it. So you would rent it, and then you would drive to the next state or wherever you were, and you would return it when you were done with it. And the first book it was literally a cassette tape, was John Douglas's Journey into Darkness, which was that was the guy who started the FBI's profiling program.
Right.
And so I was like alone driving long days, late at night, and it's a pretty dark book.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of you guys know his stuff. It's pretty gruesome shit.
Very
right?
much so, yes.
And it was wild being alone, driving through these towns in the middle of nowhere and listening to this book on tape. And so that got me into his material. And I subsequently listened to other audiobooks by him, numerous ones. And that was sort of the precursor to me studying forensic psychology.
Gotcha.
And then I started to get into that sort of profiling side and forensic psychology side. And that is ultimately what piqued my interest in these cases. But typically it was usually the cases that weren't black and white.
Yeah. Yeah. Those are the most interesting. I think, I'll be honest. I watched this guy. I've been here for, like I said, 4 years. And I came in on the middle of the Gabby Petito situation. Okay. If you guys are familiar with that one.
Yeah.
I came in the middle of that. And at the same time, right around the same time, I started covering Summer Wells' disappearance too. Okay. Little girl went missing out of Tennessee, so on and so forth. And I got headfirst deep into that one. Big time. And that started to amp me up. And then Kylie Rodney's situation happened. And I got deep into that one. And I seen a lot of people appear out of nowhere on Kylie Rodney and Summer Wells, but more on Kylie Rodney. And then when Idaho 4 happened, I swear to God, I've never in my life seen so many people appear in this genre and community within a week, and creators as well, out of nowhere, that just poof, they're here over this case. And this case is setting a precedence that I could not imagine happening. And the point that I'm making with this is I wonder if, and I think it's going to change things. It's going to create case law. Obviously, we know that. And it's definitely going to change things within legislation and all that, I believe. I'm sure there's going to be a Koberger law and things like that are going to come out, whatever. But if it wouldn't have happened, I'm curious to know, and wonder how this would have all unfolded, I guess you could say, and if these things would still be the same that we're looking into and seeing change. You know what I mean by that? You know, I'm curious. I was just thinking about that when Joe was talking about what he was saying, and it's wild to me how this has happened, how much of it has happened, and how it's kind of like unfolded in front of us as it's day after day, you know?
Well, right. And I mean, to your point, now we have all these docs. I mean, whoa, all these unredacted documents that really should not have been unredacted,
Oh yeah. Yeah.
because now they're pulling them back because somebody screwed up. And and with the advent of the social media and that, they were not expecting this case to
Oh
explode the way
no.
it did. They were not. And
They didn't see it coming at
but you
all.
can't put the genie back in the bottle at this
No.
point.
No, and it's funny because I was talking today in my show, and I said, I wonder, because everything was left unredacted. Things that you would not, they were redacting everything. They went from one extreme to a complete other extreme and left everything unredacted. I mean, we have to be careful reviewing these because there's social security numbers now and everything. So
yeah,
I wondered, and I said to my community today, I said, this is either one of two things, in my opinion. This was an absolute, complete, total horrifying to the person who just lost their job over this accident, or somebody. I said, I wonder if somebody is fed up behind the scenes, maybe that's working within this situation, and they did it on purpose. Maybe they feel like we do. Possibly they did it on purpose and said, here you go. And then they're looking at their boss going, I don't know what happened. I'm sorry. Oops. You know what I mean? I had to wonder that because it's so extreme. It's hard to believe it's an accident. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah.
One of the things that I've talked about is, and I talked about it briefly last night, is if there were only one or two inconsistencies, then yeah, you can sort of explain that away.
Sure.
But when there's so many, and very early on, the feds were involved in this case. And guys, I'm sure a lot of you guys know in the den, and I know you guys know, the feds don't have this squeaky clean track record that they should have.
God, no.
About transparency and so on and so forth. And so I think that a lot of the things we're seeing, there is something coming down from higher up. It's not just local.
Yes.
No.
I can't help but to always think about that. Now, I agreed with DA that I would not, and I respect, I don't go off the rails too much about other theories and things like that because I'm open to many different theories with this case. But the document drops and all this stuff, a lot of it almost seems like they want people wrestling with all this information and debating over all this information.
I've said that, Joe, many a times. These people in here will tell you, I've said it. I personally believe that the way they've done what they've done over the past 3 years, they've done it on purpose to confuse people and keep them confused about this. They're never, ever, ever have they ever, and I believe that now totally. They've never given us anything free. Here you go, guys. Here's some documents. Here's this, here's that, with truth in it. And so when I look at this stuff, I'm automatically looking at it, thinking in an opposite motion that what we're seeing, because they're not going to give us the truth. We have to find it if we can. So therefore, when you look at a document, it says this guy's name is Joe Schmo and he's 32 years old. I'm not going to believe that. I'm going to, okay, his name's probably John Smith and he's 17. Do you know what I'm saying? Because it's going to be opposing to what they're giving us, or they wouldn't give it to us, in my opinion. So I agree with you wholeheartedly. They're giving us all of this information in the form that they're giving us. The same thing I think they did or tried to do to the defense, to confuse us and distract us and things like that. That's how I think they're doing this.
Well, if the feds are involved, something I talk about a lot is flooding the zone. It's a term that basically explains how the feds typically will flood the information highways with a
Yep.
bunch of different information.
Mhm.
And why do they do that? It's done in politics a lot. You ever notice like before major legislation is passed,
Yep.
these big events always happen.
Yes.
And I brought it up in this platform initially with the Charlie Kirk case.
Right. Right.
And Estes Crime Maze loves to, talk about Candace Owens and
Yes.
her connections, and I keep everything open as a possibility. And I've told Esty that many times. But Candace Owens, she's been sort of like the go-to for many people
Right.
to get information about that case. But yet all this information comes from all these different angles. And I believe that flooding the zone is a very standard tactic that's used by the feds to confuse things, right? What do the feds love more than anything? Us arguing with each other.
Sure.
Right.
And it's
Right.
no different with true crime.
No.
Every law enforcement agency, and one and I have talked about this. The feds have dominion, right? Over the FBI, the CIA. They have absolute dominion over local law enforcement. Period. Full stop. It's not even a question. So once the feds get involved with something, they could I've thought for the longest time that Papa Roger was a fed, and they created that account to muddy the waters and to get people focused on this and that and red herrings and so on and so forth. I don't know what your take on that is, Dago, about Papa Roger.
I've always thought that Papa Rogers was some form of a law enforcement officer, whether it was somebody put in place by ISP, even possibly as ridiculous and minuscule as they are in Moscow. But Fed makes sense because it would be perfect to confuse the system that has been in this case, to put somebody in there real quick and get them rolling. And that's what they did. So yeah, I absolutely agree with you on that one, Joe. It's definitely law enforcement. What form, I'm not 100% sure on. The federal side of it makes more sense because they would be the ones, in my opinion, to be able to control that better in that sense. You know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%, man. I mean, I know I'm sort of probably not quite in line with a lot of things when I talk about this particular type of thing, but that whole thing about keeping people divided, it's been a tactic that's been used forever.
Oh yeah.
I apply it to true crime also, not in every case, high profile cases. And I, to your point, Dago, what you said before, I think the Idaho 4 case, they didn't expect it to blow up the way it did.
Not even close. Not at all.
No.
And I truly believe that. And I think that they were like, oh shit, like we got to control this narrative.
Yes.
And sometimes the way you control a narrative is not necessarily by like what the media does with the official narrative. That's one aspect of it, is by flooding other avenues of information like social media with a ton of different information to get people fighting over it. And what has been the one thing that was swept under the rug, we talked about it last night from as soon as it happened, was Kopaka. And when I see that, I go, why wouldn't the mainstream media be questioning like, wait, that's kind of crazy. This guy in that area after the crime has a standoff with police and he gets killed. And then they bury it.
Very quickly too. Very quickly.
And the media doesn't even question it. To me, that's a red flag.
Sure.
Now, I'm not saying that Kopaka could have, in my opinion, could have been just peripherally involved in some way, and they didn't want the connections to be revealed, right? Which makes sense because of his status being a decorated, not just a decorated veteran. He's literally from one of the most iconic outfits in all of the military history,
Right.
the 82nd Airborne.
Mhm.
I mean, Jimi Hendrix was 82nd Airborne, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
He was airborne. He was either the 101 Airborne or 82nd Airborne.
He was definitely airborne.
Yeah, I think it was 82nd Airborne. Anyway, sorry for the tangent, but
No.
I agree with you on that aspect. Like, they didn't expect, and DA has talked about this too, Robin. We've all talked about this. They didn't expect it to be blow up. They thought, oh, it's a little college town way up in Idaho. They didn't expect it.
Right.
Right.
They fully underestimated this happening. I'm sure they saw us in other cases, but never thought this is not going to be a big deal. It's never going to be what it was. This and that. And this exploded in this case more than I've seen it. I've never seen it. I mean, even in Delphi and Kylie Rodney, it was pretty hard and heavy, but nothing like this. So yeah, they fully underestimated this. And I don't think they knew truly how to approach it. Okay. I don't think they knew how to handle it or how to control it. And I think that could be in part, in some senses, because I believe, you guys, that the narrative in this case has changed more than once. I think that the control in this case has changed more than once. I think that they're going one direction for a while. And I think we've seen that with the Goncalves family, for one. Okay. And they use them as a tool through this whole thing to direct it whatever the narrative, however they want to. They've admitted that. But I think that if they see people that are starting to maybe lean in a specific direction a little too far, all of a sudden something happens. If you haven't noticed it, it's weird. It's like, oh, now we have the Goncalves coming out doing interviews again and doing their world tour. And, then, okay, that directs us over here instead of over here where we were. And it's, again, let's reconfuse them and distract them again. And then something else will happen. And then all of a sudden, now all these reports drop. This 2,000 whatever page report drops out of ISP. Holy shit! So we're all back over here now, and then people start moving again back to another direction, and then boom, something else happens. You know what I mean? That's been happening this entire time, and it keeps changing.
What I think is going to happen is that they are underestimating what is growing, and they're underestimating how dogged we are going to be about this. And so that's why they have to keep switching narratives to try to shake us. But those of us who are here for it and are not going anywhere are not going to be shaken. And that's something I always say to people. Let's keep our eye on the prize. Let's not let off the gas. I'm using a lot of analogies, but they're the truth. So and going into this next year, we can't slow down. We have, and that's why, Leah just had enough, and he's like, fuck it, I'm not going to sit here and allow just do nothing. And I'm gonna go after him, whether we get turned down, whether we get told no. It doesn't matter. We're going to keep going because it's too important to let up.
It's the same exact feeling I had. And then when I saw what Lana decided she's going to go file her lawsuit, I started seeing Joel struggle, and then I saw Lee talk about it, and I said, you know what? I'm doing it too. I'm going.
Yep.
We've been talking about it for years. Okay. And what we're doing is great. Don't get me wrong. But let's take that one step further and see where we get with that. If we get anywhere at all. And if we don't, we didn't lose nothing. We're never going to know if we don't try. So, and again, we're only doing it for our own good. We're not doing this to cause problems. We're not doing this to bother people. We're not doing this to make issues. We're doing it to protect ourselves.
Right.
That's human nature. So don't, that's the biggest thing right there is I hear everywhere, social media, online sleuthers, blah, 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 blah. They're bad. They're this or this or that. But you know what? I guarantee you, and that's the other thing that I don't think that they ever anticipated. We're not just your everyday Joe schmoes sitting out here. Sorry, Joe, but just sitting. Well, that's my name.
I'll take it.
Yeah. Just sitting out here with nothing to do and decided that we're going to go fuck around on our computer and cause trouble. No, folks, we're police officers and retired law enforcement and attorneys and firemen and paramedics and paralegals and doctors and nurses and we're everybody. Okay, we're real people that control society to some aspect and put, drive society, I should say. That's something else I think that was underestimated, that they thought it was going to be a bunch of yahoos that are out here,
Right.
that are, that have no damn knowledge. But sorry, once again, you were wrong.
Right.
Because we have figured out so much of this stuff without having the same degrees they do, so.
Right.
Yeah. And oh, go ahead, Robin. Sorry.
I was just going to say, I am going to shut the stream down now. I'm sorry, guys, but I am going to go celebrate.
All right.
But you guys, this has been phenomenal. Being on with you guys, I know I'm not exactly in your wheelhouse, but as someone who is passionate about the subject and who also is into, mass media in various aspects, that's what my background is, to be able to help further what we're doing and to be a part of Lee's channel and to help him with his mission. And now Dago with you and like Birdie and I mean, anything I can do to help anybody, I'll absolutely do. But this has been tremendous, gentlemen. Thank you guys so much. To each and every one of you out there in the den, to the mods, just everyone, you guys are all a tremendous blessing, each and every one of you. And going into 2026, I wish you all the health and happiness and just light in the world, and know that you guys, we couldn't do what we do, us creators, we couldn't do this without you. And I just hope that each of you know what a tremendous blessing you are to us. So
agreed. And I absolute same sentiments as Robin. I love and adore every one of you guys. I appreciate each and every one of you more than you know. I wouldn't exist without you. My team, they know that themselves. Both communities, I'll just call it the community because we've all come together at this point, are just absolutely amazing, guys. And I say this on my own show, and I'll say it again real quick. Guys, don't forget to love yourselves and love each other. That's what it's all about, folks. And don't change nothing. You guys are all the beautiful people. I wish you all the happiest new year ever. And I'm looking forward to next year with each one of you. So thank you again.
Likewise. You guys have a great one.
Thank you so much. Happy New Year, everybody.
Happy New Year.
Bye-bye.